Saturday night under the lights. The Cookout 400 here at Richmond Raceway. This is NASCAR on USA. Let's go! Pole man Ryan Blaney, look at Briscoe going up around the outside. Ty Gibbs, what a race in Iowa last week in that Victory Junction car. You see that, the white car, second row, up high. Josh Berry coming off an awesome run in Iowa last week as well. They're both doing well in third and fourth.
Out of line, third row back, Bubba Wallace, that number 23 purple Xfinity car on the bottom, puts Ryan Preece 3 wide top. Will he have to concede? They won't. They will run 3 wide down the backstretch. William Byron stuck in the middle.
Good job right there. William Byron lifted, let the 60 get down toward the bottom of the racetrack. Too early to be 3 wide, causing a wreck.
Side by side for the first several rows. You're looking at 2 guys here, nicely positioned in the top 16, in the chase standings. Ryan Blaney coming off a top 3 result last weekend in Iowa in that body armor Ford for Team Penske.
Why do the fans flock to Richmond? You're seeing it lap after lap, side by side. Not to mention back here in this mess, Larson, I mentioned it started in row 15. Well, here he is, 3 wide bottom, continuing to fight. Really hasn't gone anywhere so far to start. Still 28th, and what a gaggle behind him.
Van Gisbergen has got ahead of him, and he's gone forward. He's made up 4 positions from the drop of the green.
We talk about tire wear and how much speed comes out of these tires as the run goes on. This side-by-side battle, I think it's disadvantage to Blaney. Oh, up the racetrack. He's having to put way more wheel input into his car. He's having to pinch the car on corner exit. That hurts the rear tires and it hurts the front tires.
And you mentioned rear tires. This is the first trip to Richmond with the increased horsepower, 750 horsepower. So when that driver steps on that throttle pedal with the eggshell underneath it, trying to be smooth, it's even more difficult than in years past.
Great job right here by Briscoe. He's given Blaney enough room, but he's also not giving him more than he needs. That makes Blaney have to really turn the steering wheel. That really right there, leaving the corner. You see how the back of the car shake? That's the rear tires not hooking up.
I don't know if they're smiling or frowning, but I'm smiling.
It's great. Getting into the rhythm, respectful driving. Josh Berry has confirmed his spot in the top 3 in that Wood Brothers Ford.
And not catching this group, right?
Nope.
Side by side, this battle, and really Josh isn't really gaining a whole lot, just a little bit, but you would think side by side they would be quite a bit slower.
Josh Berry in that 21 trying to continue that momentum. A 7th at Indianapolis, a 4th at Iowa. Remind the fan at home, he is without a ride next year. Driver change in the 21 next season. No announcement for Josh Berry, so every race an audition for potential new employers.
8 laps side by side for the lead.
Jeff, you won here at Richmond Raceway in your home state. Terrific honor. But I want to go back to something that Ryan Blaney said earlier this weekend. He said doing 20 laps around here is like 200 laps somewhere else. You know, like it's just, you really got to concentrate. You really got to find that rhythm, and it takes a bit out of you.
Well, and now both of these guys can do a little bit of that. Briscoe got loose on the exit of 4. That allowed Blaney to get by him. But now it is, I don't want to say settle in, but really understand what your car has and what it doesn't have. It's a lot of learning right here. Practice yesterday in the middle of the heat, sun out, much hotter than it was right now.
Bottom right, you see while everyone fights for track position, goes back further in the field. That 97 of SVG, 34 of Todd Gilliland, 77 of Hocevar, 33 of Austin Hill. That gaggle right there is basically 26th to 30th. And the leaders are coming. That's some of the anxiety. 70 laps stage 1. And while these drivers can all make it on fuel, Jeff, as you and I talked in the pre-race, I believe we're going to see a majority of drivers pit about halfway through this first run for fresh tires. Tires are so valuable, we'll see green flag pit stops even in this first stage.
Well, already Larson's a third of a lap down. I mean, and it's, you know, we're just 11 laps into this run.
Well, if you think he's nervous, then Reddick doesn't feel any better because he's way out the back. He's a half a lap back.
Not sure what's happened to Zane Smith either. He's dropped 8 positions. He's just to the right of that camera shot. There he is there in the 38. Aaron's Ford for Front Row Motorsports. So he's got some work to do. How about Josh Berry? up in the top 3. He's had back-to-back top 10s for the Wood brothers. Last weekend was a fantastic drive. He wasn't the headline drive, but it was brilliant. And here he is here hassling Chase Briscoe. He's out of a ride. I know that many of you know that. That's the headline for him. And it's an uncertain future. But he is reminding everybody what he is capable of.
Look at this move right here. Really low on the front straightaway. Letting Briscoe know, I want this spot. It's 21 car right there. Looks like it rotates really nice. Leaves straight. He's got the spot.
Let's talk more about this 21 Wood Brothers Ford with Dave Burns. What you got, Dave?
Lee, when we talked to him in practice yesterday, between practice and qualifying, he said, you know, the short run is something we've really been working on with this team, and I think we've got it right. So what did he do in qualifying? Qualified third. Great start for this driver, and now great run here. They were believing that the car was going a little bit too free in practice, so that's been tightened up. Right now, the 21 looks really solid.
Had a conversation, you and I did, Steve, with Miles Stanley, the crew chief on this car, and it really felt good coming to this race. Did some testing in January at North Wilkesboro, felt like they learned some stuff. Were able to apply that last week at Iowa, got a good run, came here, very similar. Barney.
You see Shane Van Gisbergen. Steve mentioned him just a moment ago. He has +5 on the grid. And when he was at North Wilkesboro, finished top 5 in that short track race, he used the bottom line. I talked to Stephen Dorn, his crew chief, this afternoon. I said, is that what he uses at Richmond? He said, no, it's the exact opposite. He runs the high line. You see SVG up higher than anyone else on the racetrack. That is where he made so much ground. In this race last year, he started 27th and wound up finishing 14th again using that high line.
And Marty, Kyle Larson currently runs 30th, has made no headway after starting 30th. Asked crew chief Cliff Daniels what the issue was during qualifying. He said there was some head scratching because in practice they felt like it drove great. He did note though they qualified in the exact same spot last year. He felt like they were just behind the elite group of cars here. Very worried though about getting a lap down early and said he's going to have to be smart with the race calls.
When you're calling this race as a crew chief, you have to decide if you are calling for track position or calling to figure out what lap you want to run on. And Diff, that sounds cold, but the truth is, if you're outside the top 23 or 24 cars, history would say you have a real chance of going down a lap in this first 70. So you may run long, you may do things that don't make sense on paper when you look at the field as a whole, but for your car and your race, that gives you the best chance.
And again, it's so confronting when we're talking about the defending Cup Series champion in Kyle Larson. Ryan Blaney leads the way by just over a second in the Cookout 400. Cookout 400 here at Richmond Raceway, and Ryan Blaney for Team Penske started on the pole position. He's had a string of poles this season, in great form, and leads the way by just over a second. The 97 Midi Chevrolet from Trackhouse Racing, that's Shane Van Gisbergen, who is the busiest guy at this racing venue today. He competed in the NASCAR Crossman Truck Series race earlier. That was meant to be last night, but was weather delayed until midday today. And then he was fighting for a top three, fighting for the win, the lead. He ended up finishing fourth. There was a couple of glitches on pit road and various other things, but he rallied for a good fourth place. So he's going to be a tired guy by the end of the night.
It's a great experience. That's the one thing that he lacks is experience in this type of racing, but you can see it's starting to happen, starting to understand these short tracks. Riding along the Bob Discount Furniture camera. Denny Hamlin, you want to learn how to drive this racetrack. This is a guy I'd be really comfortable learning from. He's so good on racetracks. Look how low he is right here. This is something that is, we're starting to see a lot at Richmond. This is the only racetrack I'm aware of that you would run that low on the straightaway, where you turn the car. Watch this. He's got great momentum. Is he going to take this spot? He's not worried about being 3 wide. Watch right here. Watch how low he leaves. He's 3 wide, so he didn't have a choice, but that's where he ran when he wasn't 3 wide. There's just grip on the bottom of the racetrack.
I was highlighting the 5th gear. This is a track that you can use 4th, but as tires wear, staying in that 5th gear, that little bit taller gear, kind of offsets some of that power they've been given, right? It's like a little bit mini traction control. Just take away some of the bite of that throttle application.
That Castrol 60 Ford for RFK is Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece knocking on the door of making it into the top 16 in the chase. I asked him yesterday, I said, what's it like to be in that pressure cooker situation? He said, I've been in it my whole career.
The pit stops, as expected, starting early, only 31 laps into this 70-lap stage. Joey Logano already on pit road, Kim.
That's right. You just saw him finish up that 4-tire stop. 2 tight center, loose off as Kyle Larson making his first stop of the night. Tight center, snaps loose off. He said, I don't really know what to do. There's nothing this car can do well, Dave.
Running the high line was Austin Cindric. He now brought the 2 car to pit lane, and they will leave as well. There he goes in the green and bright yellow Menards Ford.
Preece and Austin Dillon in as well. It's going to almost look like yellow flag pit stops. Pit road is going to be just swarmed. I expect anyone who's going to apply this strategy, which is probably most of the field, will all pit in about a 4-lap window, Dave.
Tyler Reddick started 32nd, fell back to 35th, gained another position before he came to pit road here, but he needs about the same adjustment as he's had in practice to here, Marty.
To Steve's point, Dave, once one car pits here at Richmond, they all have to come to pit road. Ryan Blaney said the car was just starting to come to him. No changes for the 12 car. So far, it's led 26 laps, Dave.
Josh Berry, great run from qualifying 3rd. He was at the front of the pack. He now comes to pit road. 4 service from the Wood brothers. You'd expect this to be 4 tires and very minor changes right now. Denny Hamlin, who's been the master of this racetrack with 5 wins at his home track, comes to pit road now, brings the Bob Furniture Toyota to pit lane. He'll get 4 tires as well. Crew going to the left-hand side, trying to get him on and off of pit road, get him back in the game at Richmond Raceway. His teammate Ty Gibbs on pit road, last week's winner as well. He will now hit his marks on pit lane. And the crew will go to work there as well. Comments from Ty, pretty good right now. Want to keep it right where it is. Want to keep that track position they have right now. An efficient pit stop will do that. You don't have to be lightning fast. You just have to keep your driver in the game with these multiple pit stops they're going to have all night long.
It is so busy on pit road. And speaking of pit road, Jeff, this week, that pit entry commit line moved up further 75 feet as they come in at 40 miles an hour. Dave, tell us more.
When will William Byron make the move that he's been trying to make all year? Will it be tonight on the short track at Richmond? The car is okay right now. Wants a little bit of an adjustment. Has been adjusting his line. The crew very efficient. In and out for the 24.
A couple penalties on board with Austin Hill of the 33. He's going to have a penalty because the team has lost a tire down pit road. You're on board right here. He's going to do a pass through. So you see at the top of your screen the 33 car in his stall, and the tire kind of rolls out. So it's hard to tell from that angle, but obviously it wasn't caught when it rolled back to pit wall. So that'll be a penalty for the 33. Another penalty I'm hearing, the 54 of Ty Gibbs. Too fast. This is exactly what did them in at North Wilkesboro, and here he is a speeding penalty early on at Richmond.
My gosh, dude.
So that was, he was penalized in zone 1, Steve. That's that new zone coming onto pit road. So if you look, this yellow line, that is the new start of pit road speed.
Yeah, so basically right here, this line to this line is the entrance. And it is 75 feet shorter than it once was. And that 75 feet means that if you're a little too quick, and remember, it's kind of rolling average. So if I go a little too fast over that yellow line, Jeff, I just don't have the time to give it back, and I get caught on the stopwatch.
There were certain drivers that were made well aware of it. Others were caught out by surprise. Let's have a look here with Ty Gibbs.
He just simply didn't get slowed down quick enough. The reason NASCAR moved that cone is because last year and races before, drivers had trouble getting inside of that cone because it was so early into turn 3. New location is see the yellow line, the old location is back there at the black line. That's where it was. Many drivers would miss that orange box, so they moved it closer to pit road to make that easier. But Steve did a great job of explaining. It made that first zone 75 feet shorter. The shorter a zone it is, the easier it is to speed in. Because remember, it's the time it takes to get from one line to the next. That's how they calculate it.
And Diff, to add a little bit of pain to this penalty, multiple speeding penalties here last year. So when you talk about improving going back, you would have hoped or you would thought there would have been a point to make sure they improve. Fortunately, a lot of racing still ahead, but right now, the 54 trying to unlap himself. That's the leader, the 12 of Blaney. So the 54 is pushing. Remember, we talk about how little time you lose. So he only lost one lap through penalty. This will put him back on the lead lap.
And should remember last week when the 54 suffered some adversity and the team rallied, grouped around Ty Gibbs. He was as low as 28th in the race last weekend at Iowa Speedway and came back to win. Joey Logano was the first to hit pit road, and it's been advantageous, although he fights with the Wood brothers, Josh Berry, and Josh gets by him. That's for 3rd place.
3-lap fresher tires on Josh Berry, and if you think 3 laps don't matter, the second lap in qualifying was 3, 4, or 5/10 of a second slower. So just when you kind of knock the good off the tires, it drops off very quickly. You see on the left side of your screen how many laps each driver has run.
Austin Cindric was called in as well. Brian Wilson brought him in on the same lap as his teammate Joey Logano, and Cindric is up 18 positions from where he started. Look at that. Richmond Raceway, beautiful. and this special occasion to race under the lights. And let's see which drivers are on the move. Brought to you by Busch Light. None better at the moment. We mentioned him going to the break. The number 2 Menards Ford for Team Penske, Austin Cindric, holds 16th place, which is the final place in the chase standings. Headed to the chase in 2 races time after this. And Austin, a good result tonight would be so advantageous. Want to bring our Hall of Famer in, Dale Jarrett. DJ, we are over the halfway mark of the first stage. What have you witnessed? What's caught your eye?
Well, I think, well, the biggest thing, we all knew this, just how much of a difference the tires make. But we talk about Kyle Larson and Tyler Reddick. They can thank their pit crews for getting them the spots that they've gained so far. They were struggling back there in the pack, racing against guys they're not accustomed to racing around, don't really know their tendencies, but their pit crews did a good job and got them a little bit of track position.
Nothing better than some free spots on pit road, DJ.
Yeah, exactly.
Toyota Racing on board, Tyler Reddick. And DJ mentioned how many positions he's made up. Let's talk more about it with Dave Burns.
And you heard him in pre-race, Lee, when he talked to Kim Kuhn. He's leaning on history. We have been good here. We've had pace here before, but they qualified 32nd. Billy Scott, his crew chief, told me, we can do it. I know we can do it. They just have to chip away at it, and that was a good example of it right there. Remember, they finished last week. That put them in the less desirable group for practice yesterday, and it cost them with an early qualifying draw and a not so well set up race car. So they're making the kind of progress they need to make after a less than stellar qualifying effort.
Well, Dave, I will tell you, while they were disappointed in qualifying, they should be ecstatic at all of 23-11 for the pit road actions. Bubba Wallace, 9.2 seconds. Tyler Reddick, 9.2 seconds. The 2 fastest pit stops on that entire cycle, both coming out of 23-11 racing. It's going to be very important all night tonight.
You mentioned Austin Cindric. He's the car in front of this 23 of Bubba Wallace and Denny Hamlin. He has 6 more laps on his tires than Bubba Wallace and 3 more than Denny Hamlin, and he is driven away from him. He is consistently top 3, fastest car on the racetrack, or the fastest race car on the racetrack, and he has a fair amount more laps on tires. That is a really impressive start to this race.
Xfinity on board with Bubba Wallace, who, by the way, had a brilliant drive last week. Drove up through the field to the lead, then went backwards after a penalty, then tried to work his way and then kind of got hampered, and he was a bit frustrated at the end, but he had brilliant speed in this car, and the 23 is shining again. He's 6th overall early on with 15 to go in stage 1 in this Cookout 400. Let's talk more about Joey Logano. It's been a productive first stage for him as well, Kim.
And Diff, before the break, you noted that crew chief Paul Wolf brought his driver down on the earlier side of the pit window, lap 30, to gain positions. Came in 7th, left 3rd, ultimately settling in the 4th position. The crew chief did his job, the crew did their job. Now it's up to Joey. Joey telling me the most important thing to him as a driver here is managing tires. When to run hard, how hard you push, when to save tires. He said understanding the race flow. So, Jeff, as we talk race flow here at Richmond, how challenging is that, being that you see so many different strategies when drivers are coming down under the green flag cycle?
Yeah, the key, Kim, is you really just got to focus on yourself. You've got to make the best lap time that you can. Right now, it's pretty easy because he has, pretty clean racetrack. So it's just about hitting your groove, doing everything you need to do. Look at your lap times on your dashboard. Just try to be as consistent as possible. When it gets difficult is when you catch somebody and you're trying to pass them and you got old tires and you're trying not to eat the rubber off of the tires. And then it requires almost a completely different skill set. So we'll see that all night long. Right here we're seeing it with Blaney. He's caught the back of the field, but he just can't get by him.
Yeah, as you were saying it, I was like, well, his teammate is in the opposite. He is heavily mired in traffic trying to lap these cars. And just a reminder, that new stage break procedure, if a caution comes out in the final 10 laps of either stage 1 or stage 2, that will be the end of the stage. It won't be restarted.
That new rule was implemented starting last week at Iowa Speedway. So there's Carson Hocevar in the Ziegler Chevrolet for Spire Motorsports. A guy who went from 5th to 8th in the standings last weekend. Boy, it was a frustrating day at Iowa for Hocevar. And here he is with a very realistic potential of going a lap down as the race leader, who has led 50 of the laps here tonight. Ryan Blaney is right with him.
And this is the test I'm waiting to see. There's no doubt Carson Hocevar is a remarkable race car driver. He can make speed. He won at Talladega. He's a flashy personality, but he's also young and he's emotional. And that's what the fans love about him. But can he harness that emotion when things aren't going right like this? This is a guy that has put himself into championship contention conversation. But you will have challenges like this in the chase. How does the 77 kind of, you know, keep the ship going in the right direction on a night where they don't have their best stuff?
Hey, Marty, watch Chase Briscoe in the 19. That Bass Pro Shops Toyota is flying, and he has bridged the gap while Blaney's been stuck in some traffic.
Yeah, sitting in second there, Lee. You know, Steve, in the pre-race show, you talked about all the strategy available to crew chiefs tonight. So they have sticker tires laying. They also have one set of scuff tires from qualifying laying in their pit box to use tonight. James Small made the call for Chase Briscoe to use that qualifying set of scuff tires right now. So what advantage does that give James Small for the rest of this race now that he's gotten rid of those scuff tires here in the stage one?
Well, if we have enough yellows that you use all of your tires, that last set you put on, you want to be fresh Goodyear stickers. You don't even want one lap on those tires. So just using them up early kind of protects them for that potential issue down the road.
Extra set of tires, Goodyear tires, by the way, for tonight's Cookout 400 in comparison to last year. Race Control just thought that got kind of a little bit close for comfort with the amount of tire wear, and they threw an extra set for the competitors with 9 plus a set of scuffs out of after qualifying.
A few laps ago, Ryan Blaney caught the 34, Todd Gilliland, and he's like, "Hey, Todd,
boom,
not messing around tonight. Need the spot."
I know we're both Ford drivers, but just give me a little bit more room. I'm in a hurry.
Well, he's in a quagmire right here behind A.J. Allmendinger in that 16, the 4 of Noah Gragson. A little bit of news in the Noah Gragson camp. Extension. Yep. He'll be back in front row next year, trying to put a good run on the same week where that news came out, trying to stay on this lead lap here with 4 laps to go.
That'll be a bit frustrating, too, for the 16 from Corlig Racing of A.J. Allmendinger after he had a fine top 10 result last weekend in Iowa. He's just gone a lap down.
Qualified 15th here yesterday as well, so just going the wrong way.
Here comes Briscoe. That gap is just a couple, maybe 3 car lengths between first and second. And at this critical stage of the championship, for 2 guys who they know that they're in, right? Briscoe isn't confirmed, but Ryan Blaney has already consolidated his spot and confirmed his spot in the chase. Grabbing those extra stage points, grabbing as many as you can.
2 cars behind the leader. We see the 19 of Briscoe for the lead, but don't overlook the 47 of Stenhouse, one of the last cars on pit road. He has a couple lap fresher tires. Will it be enough to save this lap? Currently in the free pass position. His lap times have been impressive. Will he get close enough to the leaders, and will the leaders get by the 4 of Noah Gragson?
Here comes Chase Briscoe. He may have difficulty here because Gragson's there. Briscoe going for the inside on Blaney. Not quite close enough. Coming to the end of stage 1. There's 1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank. And let's see who's going to get the maximum points. For sure, the last 10, 15 laps, Briscoe has been super racy. For Blaney, he's dominated this stage. He's led 59 laps so far. And the Team Penske driver who started on the pole position. What a great stage. Maximum points for Ryan Blaney. Awesome performance. 6th stage win of the year, most of any driver. Chase Briscoe, and then Joey Logano and Austin Cindric. 3 of the top 4 Team Penske Fords. Nice work. USA Sports coverage of NASCAR is brought to you by Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? Toyota, let's go places. And by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. Saturday night under the lights here at Richmond Raceway. Stage 1 complete. Pit stops are coming. Here they are. Kim Kuhn is there.
And for Joey Logano, he said it turns good to start and then loses grip center off. He's close to that right rear limit. You see that chassis adjustment. He says, I don't know if the tire is slipping or what. I need the right rear to last for a longer run, Marty.
Chase Briscoe said it's definitely turning better after that first stop of the night. He said, I feel like we have better forward drive than all of those around us. Stage win for Ryan Blaney. He said, I'm still too tight in the middle, and it is very easy to miss the bottom. Way too easy, but he wants a very small change from Jonathan Hassler. Let's see if the pit crew can do their job. What a drag race, 3 wide off the end of pit road. Lee, you're gonna have to call that one.
That was full on. Blaney had the inside line, Briscoe in the middle. Great stop, Austin Cindric and the 2 team. Check this out. Woo. Did you know that Richmond Raceway began its fabled story 80 years ago with a half-mile dirt track, and the original race was horsepower of the original kind. It was a harness racing event. First NASCAR race was won by Lee Petty in 1953, still at that half-mile distance, and that lasted all the way up until 1988, where there was a redesign, and the new configuration was 3/4 of a mile, which stays until this very day. And this weekend, the driver of Richard Childress Racing's #3 Chevrolet Austin Dillon has a special bit of history on the line. He could win 3 straight NASCAR Cup Series races. That's something that hasn't been done in over 40 years, when Bobby Allison accomplished that in 1983.
Oh, Diff, I love the history lesson. from you on all these racetracks. And you bring up Austin Dillon, very quiet. We haven't talked about him a whole lot yet in the race, but here he is in 14th. And I will tell you, Jeff, this is a little bit of the signature of the three. He kind of is in the race, does his part, stays patient. In the second half, whatever this 3-car runs for a setup or however he drives, it really comes alive when the lights come on.
Just won the last 2 races here, qualified 16th. Said yesterday he didn't think his car was quite like he needed it to be. Obviously, they worked on it overnight a little bit.
And showed us some great potential last weekend in Iowa, coming to one of his most productive tracks. Poet restart zone, ready to begin stage 2. Time to bring the action under the lights here in Richmond. And the same 2 guys that began the race, they go at it. Ryan Blaney on the low side, the 19 of Chase Briscoe. Around that top groove, Austin Cindric, then Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Bubba Wallace. Briscoe to the front. First time he has ever led in a cup race as Wallace goes high.
Yeah, contact with the 21. I couldn't tell if there was someone into the left rear of the 21, but they definitely stacked up into the corner. Great save by Bubba Wallace.
Just to go back to Briscoe, first time he's led a cup race here at Richmond. Good stuff. He continues to grow and get better at the right stage of the season, on a short track, most importantly.
Look at this mess.
What could go wrong?
Teammates right alongside each other. Colin Zilic, Shane Van Gisbergen, Ty Gibbs on the comeback trail, working his way back after that earlier pit road speeding penalty.
Tyler Reddick up to 14th.
Big block right here. Austin Dillon trying to put the 17. Busher in a not a good position. Busher said, you know what, I'm coming in here, Austin.
Just ahead of the Legacy Motor Club duo of John Hunter Nemechek and Eric Jones. Poor old Eric last weekend. He was at the front of the pack, and Tyler Reddick lost control of his car and he got taken out. Check this out though. Josh Berry in the 21 slides up a little and takes Bubba Wallace high.
Yeah, that's frustrating because he was given plenty of room. Watch this restart. Watch the 11 and the 2 work this out. Down into turn 1. Hamlin gets a good launch right here. Turns. Going to make a move on Cindric. Cindric cuts him off a little bit, and Hamlin says, I'm going to cut you some slack. Early in the race, I'm going to let you get by with that, but late in the race, he's probably not.
So up front, as Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano go side by side through turn 4, looking up ahead, Logano up ahead at his teammate Austin Cindric. Briscoe still leads the way. Let your eyes walk down those standings and positions on the left-hand side of the screen a little further, and you will see Tyler Reddick is in 12th position. The driver who led the first 17 rounds of this season. Unfortunately, he's dropped to 4th in points because he's been off the boil. He was looking at Iowa last weekend to come back, but it only lasted 4 laps before he crashed out and took Eric Jones out as well. But Reddick is on the comeback trail. He spun in practice, he started 32nd, and Tyler Reddick of 23.11 runs 12th.
We had a whole conversation, Dale Jarrett and I, about Tyler Reddick in the pre-race, and look, the numbers don't lie. It has gone ice cold for the 45, but Jeff, when I looked a little deeper, he still ranks 2nd in speed when you just look at overall pace of the field. So yes, they need to start getting those fast cars to the finish, but I would much rather have a little bad luck, even if I'm creating it myself with fast race cars, than the opposite. I think speed's the hardest thing to find.
You know, one thing that happens in this sport, Steve, is when things start going poorly, it's hard to get it to stop. And you really just need to, I don't want to say lower your expectations, but recognize that running 5th in a cup race is really good. And go try to get a top 5, got to try to get a top 10, just to kind of stop it from happening. And you just got to slow it down sometimes. And I feel like that's what they have to do. They have enough speed, but they've just got to get their consistency back.
5-time Richmond winner in Denny Hamlin up against 2-time Richmond winner Joey Logano. But DJ, who's caught your eye? How about Reddick? We've been talking about him. The Penske guys are having a strong run tonight.
Yeah, I think Austin Cindric, I watched his car turn the center, and it looks as good as anybody at that point in time. And that may benefit him. If he doesn't get loose, that's going to benefit him as they run longer on these tires, which they're going to have to do. Those short runs that they had in stage one are going to become about 15, 20 laps longer, I believe, Steve, and at least that, and maybe more for some others. But I think Reddick has done a great job. His pit crew got him in a good spot. He made some good passes, didn't panic, and now moving forward. As I look back towards the back, there's a lot happening in this race, and I think some tempers are going to flare, which we expect on a short track, and that could become interesting and affect this race later on.
Dale's exactly right about the length of a run. 30 to 35 laps is what you needed to get out of each set of Goodyear tires in stage one. You're going to have to run about 45 laps out of the 3 sets you should use in stage 2. The set you started on, you will put a set on. You will also put another set on. So 2 green flag pit stops if we don't see any yellow flags.
These guys have been going at it. It's been a really good race, fun to watch. Riding along with Denny Hamlin. Whoa, he is as low as he can get. Joey Logano comes, actually Denny is up a little bit, but bit of contact. That's just short track racing. That's how I see it. I don't know if that's how they see it.
A few positions behind these two guys. Back in 7th is RFK's Ryan Preece, is the Bob's Discount Furniture on board for Denny Hamlin. But Preece, who is in that really tough position. Here he is here in the 60 Castrol Ford. He's in 17th in the point standings at the moment. He led some 60 laps here last year, but just the way the strategy worked out, he ended up out the back by the end of the race. But loves short track racing, excited to go to the Northeast next week in New Hampshire. Really looking forward to that. And Kim, he wants to leapfrog his way into the top 16 and give himself a chase berth, because he said, look, last year we didn't have any cars, RFK cars. Chris Buescher, my teammate, is in at the moment. We've got to at least have 2 of the 3 in.
Yeah, but fell a little short of the goal for the first stage. Remember, he qualified in the 6th position, finished stage 1 in the 11th position. He had told me, look, we out-qualified all of the guys around us in the chase bubble. We have to capitalize on that track position to start. They weren't able to do it in that first stage. In fact, Cindric has hopscotched him, currently running in the 3rd position. So disappointment for the first stage. We'll see if they can earn stage points here in the 2nd stage.
A couple of other drivers doing good things in the top 10. William Byron 6th. Ross Chastain has made his way into the top 10 just behind Bubba Wallace. You're watching the Cookout 400 here at Richmond Raceway. Crucial part of the season. After tonight, just 2 races until we enter the chase, and you're looking at the 2 drivers who have dominated tonight. Ryan Blaney in the 12, who sits second, has led 68 laps so far. Chase Briscoe, he's led 29. These guys started on the front row, have run at the front for the majority of this evening.
You know, Jeff, you said something earlier this weekend when you, me, and Diff were out here taking laps in the pace cars. You're nice enough to take us each week. We talk about the track, and you said that you remember races here where you were more physically exhausted than Bristol. That there was something about this racetrack that your shoulders and your neck, just the consistent lateral G. Do you think it's that, or you think these drivers are also tensed up because it's so slippery? Like, what do you make of that?
I think it's the front straightaway. I think this front straightaway, it's a curve. It's a turn. You're always turning, trying to shove your head out of the right side of the car. At Bristol, it's very demanding, but you have 2 straights, and you get to rest. Here, you never get to rest on the front straightaway. See Blaney trying to get to the outside. Oh, almost got there. Starting to see this trend of the 12 car having better long run speed than the 19. The 19 takes off a good speed, and the 12 later in the run just has more grip.
Which is fascinating because Team Penske, as a signature, I would say, have always been a short run organization, like in general. I mean, the last 5 years. But then here, they have found a way to adapt a now long run application.
And Ryan Blaney commented on that in the lead up to this Cookout 400 as he looks on the inside of Briscoe again. And that is looking after those rear tires. If you slip them too much and you abuse them too early, you're going to pay. There's going to be consequences. But he's looking after them beautifully at the moment as he challenges for the lead and takes the lead momentarily from Briscoe.
Briscoe's been running the bottom of the racetrack and running really low down the front straightaway. Now, with Blaney underneath him, he has to run a completely different line. Let's see what it does with the rear grip on corner exit. That's the difference. Blaney just can go to the throttle sooner. There, he's clear.
Well, let's talk more about that 19 Bass Pro Shops Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing with Marty.
That long run pace for Ryan Blaney showing up. Chase Briscoe said on the radio a moment ago to James Small, getting a little bit of brake shake. And then James Small acknowledged that and then said this. Take a listen.
I would like to be running 5th gear if we can. Can here, we need to be trying to run 5th.
So, Steve, why does James Small care why Chase Briscoe would run 5th gear? You mentioned that earlier in the race. How does that help the car?
Well, James must feel that it helps rear tire life. So drivers use 4th and 5th gear for multiple reasons. One is very obvious. You downshift, it helps acceleration if you have enough grip. But it also affects the grip of the car. Downshifting into the corner kind of loads the car in a different manner. I've had drivers tell me that it helps their car turn. Other drivers say it helps secure it up. I think it's really different depending on the setup, but it is a tool drivers use. James Small wants his driver to stay in 5th. We'll see if it makes a difference for the 19. And maybe James is thinking help this long run, Jeff, that you just pointed out is the weakness to the 19.
Well, yeah, Steve, with 31 laps into this run, they're running 2 seconds of a lap slower now than they were when they dropped the green flag on this run. So you as a driver, you have to adjust the way you drive the car. You're not driving the car the way now you did when they dropped the green flag. Way less throttle, more brake input, trying to get the car slowed down. You may want to shift later in the run. You may not want to shift later in the run. Some of it is driver preference. It really is. I actually, crazy enough, I'd rather be in a lower gear because I could feel the rear tires.
Lower being 4th.
Correct. I would want to turn more RPMs because I could feel the rear tires when they were going to spin better than if I had it in a high gear and it wasn't turning as many RPMs. Kevin Harvick, he was a little bit different. He wanted to be in a higher gear. He thought that was better.
Chase Briscoe finds himself looking ahead at a Team Penske Ford, behind at 2 Team Penske Fords, with Cindric looming larger in his rear view mirror. And we've got some takers on pit road. Speaking of pit road, let's head down that now with Kim Kuhn.
Yeah, with tires playing an important role here, we see a lot of pit stops at Richmond, so we want to put the spotlight on the front tire changer for the 54 car, the series' most recent winner. Jackson Gibbs is in his 5th year on pit road. Before that, he played quarterback for App State. Now, coming into this race, the 54 team had made a total of 123 stops this season, and out of all of those stops, Jackson has only made one single mistake. When I mentioned that stat to him, he said, "Oh yeah, I remember exactly what you're talking about. It was the very first stop of the very first race of the year at Daytona." He has been smooth ever since, and he's just a small part of why the 54 car ranked 2nd overall, line to line, on pit road this season. As the 60 makes a stop here on pit road, finishing up service, Ryan just asking for a little bit more grip on the longer run.
And pitting from inside the top 10 should bring the intensity up. I would imagine in the next handful of laps, it's going to be a full wave. A longer stage, still 110 laps to go in the stage. Pretty clean, to be honest. We had the 54 speeding. We had the 33 lose a wheel in the first cycle. But other than that, Jeff, it seemed like the new pit entry line was pretty straightforward to the field. They had a pretty good feeling on how to do it. There it is once again, a great shot right there. Ty's going to give it another shot. Hopefully just a smidge slower there in section 1. That's where he was speeding the first time around.
Yeah, you can't make that mistake twice, Dave.
Nope, and they warned him about that before he came to pit road. So now Ty Gibbs and Jackson Gibbs will go to work on the 54 car as he hits his marks perfectly. Tough balance in the pack there, so a little adjustment for him here to try to get Ty moving back toward the front where he started today.
I'm going to tell you, 9.2 second stops. It's just really unbelievable how fast these stops have become, Jeff. There's just no room for error. It's pure timing. Jackman doesn't even look forward or backwards. He just basically, when he can get his hand on the jack handle, he drops it, and the tire changes need to be done. Any sort of hiccup with an exchange, and that's when wheels come off or not get tightened. We saw that with Bubba Wallace just a few weeks ago. They had a exchange issue which led to a wheel not being secured on the left front of the 23.
Wallace is coming your way, Marty.
Just as a note, after the contact with Josh Berry, about 15 laps after that, Bubba Wallace just simply said, "What was that?" and kind of moved on from that. They just asked him a moment ago, what big changes would you like to make? He said, "I don't want to make any big changes. I would just like to tighten it up. Let's just see where it goes from there," Dave.
Josh Berry told his team it's starting to go a little bit free off the back end of that 21 car. Coming around, could use a little bit more rear grip. Good grip by the crew. Oh, spun down the track. The 38 is around Zane Smith.
Problem for Zane Smith. So, first caution, that's not for the stage break, as the Aaron's Ford contact with the wall. He was having a tough day anyway, started going backwards from the start, and this has gone an unfortunate direction.
Oh, just really loose. Back of the car was around early in the corner. Oh, that's a big impact, Steve.
Yeah, it hit harder than I expected. Definite damage to the left rear suspension, probably the left front. 19 of Briscoe, still the race leader. We're going to have to let NASCAR sort out the scoring. As you had seen some cars come to pit road, there was even some cars on pit road, Tyler Reddick being one of them.
Caution right in the middle of a pit sequence.
Oh,
really
yeah.
Confuses things a little bit.
So NASCAR will have to identify who's on the lead lap. They'll also have to identify if there is a free pass. That is, who is first car one lap down, literally at the time of yellow. Other cars can become lapped in the cycle as the leader gets picked up. So we'll just have to wait and see. But the 19 is the leader, and he's thankful he ran a little bit longer into this run, because now they can come down and score or change tires with no stress. You see the 21 of Barry right behind him. That'll be fine, because he's either going to be the free pass. Right there, he's in a free pass position. NASCAR hasn't said that yet, but when the 19 pits, the 21 can stay out. So if you're a Josh Berry fan, don't panic that he's behind the leader. '45 is the one I really want to see, because currently riding around, he is 4 or 5 cars behind the leader. You're on board with Reddick right here. He pitted from the 10th position, but remember, this is just where he's blended. He's going to be scored in a different situation. He's going to be scored basically at start, finish line, or pit out, depending on where he's pitting and when the yellow came out. So NASCAR's going to have to sort this all out.
And Steve, we've seen so few cautions at this racetrack. Crew chiefs have become almost, they're not even afraid to pit early. The negative of pitting early is if you get on pit road and the caution comes out, you get trapped a lap down. That's what just happened, but we just haven't seen it that many races in the past.
Billy Scott is curious as we are of exactly where he's going to be scored. Yeah. But to your point, Jeff, I thought that they would be a little bit scared because of what happened in North Wilkesboro. The majority of the field got caught. Pit road now open. Kim Logano in front of you.
Yeah, and he's telling his team, I burned up my rear too much. Long run, I still need more right rear grip. Same problem as the first run, so they will make a right rear air pressure adjustment, Marty.
Chase Briscoe said, I actually felt like we got better the longer we ran. And I might have figured out a couple of things. James Small agreed that he was pretty good on the long run. How about Ryan Blaney giving a heads up and a attaboy to Tim Fee to his spotter. Blaney was actually coming to pit road when that happened. He quickly got on the radio feed told his driver to stay out. That could have been disastrous for the 12 team. Blaney pretty happy with the handling of the 12.
And before they made that decision, the 19 was certainly closing the gap to that point made a little earlier. Check this out. Coming to pit lane, and then a caution came out and a quick reactionary flexibility decision.
Yeah, spotter must have saw that car backwards on the backstretch. That's a wide view from the spotter stand.
Sports have always brought people together, and that's what makes traditions like NASCAR so powerful.
NASCAR found its success through families. This is the American dream.
NASCAR Americana. New episode tonight after the race on USA.
Yeah, I want to remind you to stay with us and encourage you to stay with us after tonight's race for episode number 2 of NASCAR Americana, presented by Busch Light. From its roots on southern back roads to its rise as a national institution. Yep, the sport we love. This docuseries explores the people, the traditions, everything that shaped NASCAR.
Just a quick update. A lot of cars took the wave around because they were trapped at lap down. The leaders then came to pit road. So if you're looking for certain drivers, Larson now 13th. Reddick took the wave around. He's in 18th. Barry in 17th. So back on the lead lap. 27 cars in the lead lap. Hocevar, Stenhouse, Gilliland, Custer, Austin Hill, and A.J. Allmendinger, the cars 1 lap down.
Big advantage for Larson right there. He'd been struggling, caught that caution. He had not been on pit road. He now is running in 13th.
And he's leapfrogged Tyler Reddick, unfortunately, who was as high as 12th. He's dropped back to 18th. Poet restart zone awaits Chase Briscoe, Joey Logano. Here they go. Back to racing, stage 2. Less than 100 laps to go in this stage. Look at Ross Chastain in the 1. all the way around the outside, up high, got himself into the top 10 a little earlier, and he's on the surge as he goes side by side with Austin Cindric down into turn 3. Briscoe, Logano, Blaney, William Byron in that red, white and blue 24. Denny Hamlin's on his outside. Chastain pressuring and squeezing Austin Cindric, and Cindric says, I'm going to hold this low line. Best shot we've got of the 9 of Chase Elliott all night long. Elliott's in the top 10 and Eric Jones on his outside. There they are.
You mentioned the 9 of Chase Elliott. That cycle 13th to 7th with just the cycle and the timing of the caution. Maybe that's the break the 9's looking for after qualifying outside the top 30.
And you see right behind Eric Jones, the Monster Energy Toyota of Riley Herbst. That's not a flash in the pan. He's been there all night. He's been knocking on the door of the top 10, and there's some knocking there. Contact between several cars.
Even knocking on the rear bumper of the 43 car. The lap before, there was contact. Whoa, 5 and the 77 together.
Well, remember last week, there was a little bit of pushing and shoving between the 5 and the 77.
The 5 car just does not have the pace that we would expect him to have. It's just not been a good night. Battle right here between teammates.
If you're Roger Penske, Walt Zarnicki, or any of the executives at Team Penske, you have to feel really good, because now it's not just Joey Logano. Joey Logano was outstanding at North Wilkesboro, but here you are, Logano, Blaney, 2nd and 3rd, Cindric 6th. As an organization, you have got it figured out. The 21 of Barry has been outstanding. He's down in 17th because of that pit cycle. But all 4 Fords prepared at Team Penske, really showing up here at Richmond.
Give a shout out to Daniel Suarez, doing a nice job in 13th. He started the weekend really nicely and in practice showed some good speed, so he's in that 7th for Spire. We'll see his progress. Runs 13th. Reddick's made up several positions too. He's jumped up from 18th to 15th in this since the restart.
Really interesting to me right now, relatively new tires. Look at the line they're running. Right on the bottom in the corner. Hamlin's not, but look, they're using a lot of the racetrack on the front straightaway. Using all the racetrack, there's enough grip to do it. As this run goes on, watch them. They'll get lower and lower and lower as they're searching for grip. Probably never wide open on the front straightaway after 30, 35 laps on tires.
Jeff, do you think this line by the 11, we saw it in practice, so he turns in, and right here he just lets it leave the yellow line, not as much right there, but do you think he's just trying not to abuse the front tires? Is he letting them just track up the track? Or, I mean, it's by design. This man doesn't miss his groove by 3 or 4 feet consistently. Let's see if he does it down here. Yeah, see, like right there, he just kind of lets it track off the yellow line.
But over in 4, he really lets the car come up the racetrack. This time to the bottom, right there. Now he's running the bottom.
Yeah,
As soon as we start talking about it, come on, Hamlin, work with us.
When you won here, Jeff, what was the magic line for you then? Where was your car working the best?
Well, I got the last few laps, I ran the top, and Jeff Gordon was underneath me. He just never could clear me. The reason I ran the top is because I got passed by our buddy Dale Jarrett one night on the top. They said the 88's coming on the top. I'm like, nobody's passing on the top.
Oh, DJ did.
Took the trophy. Didn't feel bad for me at all.
We'll get his comment on that a little bit later. We want to take you back several laps and show you what happened just getting back to racing after the restart.
Whoa.
So that's Bowman and Herbst coming together. There's that big lockup. Christopher Bell had a good view of that. So too did Daniel Suarez.
I think that's where the 77 got shoved up or shoved into the 5, and then down here in the next corner, the 5 gave him a whole, hey man, no thanks.
It's no fun back there. I'm telling you.
It isn't.
It is, you know.
Gosh,
Larson back there in 17th, not happy, mad because he's running bad. In the middle of all that chaos.
Larson runs 17th. Chris Buescher, you just saw him. Here's the Xfinity on board for Bubba. Bubba's in 18th. And Chris Buescher 19th. And there is the 54 of Ty Gibbs. So for the second week in a row, is making his way back through the field after some early race adversity.
And let's give the 54 credit. He was actually up inside the top 15, and then he was one of the drivers that got caught by that pit cycle. So far we've had 2 pit cycles, speeding on the first, and on pit road when the caution came out, Tyler Allen, his crew chief, looking on. An amazing job last week. They got behind early. He put on right side tires 3 separate times, most notably the last time to leapfrog the 20, and then which his young driver did a miraculous job holding off Bell. But I'm really impressed with Tyler Allen's leadership of this organization and kind of throwing a little bit of a Hail Mary to get his driver back in. Goes back to those races earlier in the year where he kind of scooped up the points. Sonoma comes to mind, where his driver was frustrated, but all those points are really paying off as he's climbed now all the way up in the standings.
Watch that black, blue, and white 45, the pinnacle Toyota Camry. That is the man who dominated the early part of this season, Tyler Reddick. He's on the comeback. He's climbed to 14th. Chase Briscoe leads this Cookout 400 in his Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing, and it's time we take a look at the Toyota driver update on who is where. And behind him, Denny Hamlin, his teammate. Whoa! Contact between Hamlin and Blaney.
All good here.
Great catch from Ryan. That could have been ugly.
A little bit of contact. Hamlin trying to get to the outside of Blaney. Just misjudged it right there. Misjudged it. Gets into the back of the 12. Has to check up. It's kind of one of those that Hamlin makes a mistake right there. Just misjudges it. And then they both just like, all right, let's work this out, right? No more racing for now. Then Blaney's probably not going to give him a lot of room.
Now Hamlin comes around the outside of the 12. There's still 75 laps to go in this stage.
12 car is not as good this run as he has been.
Well, I would say sunshine's completely gone now. Lights are up. I'm sure the track has made a little shift. Other people have had a couple chances to adjust on their car. The 11's been a constant.
Splitter's fine.
Splitter's fine after that contact. All the teams have an opportunity. There's photographers all around the racetrack. They send those pictures to the teams. They can pull them up on the pit box, review those pictures, look and see if there's any damage. Blaney's always fun to listen to after one of those moments. Let's see what he had to say.
Yep. I can't drive in that deep. I just missed the bottom. Fronts don't really turn great.
Can't drive it in that deep, just missed the bottom.
Fronts don't turn great. So right in the middle of the corner, if the front tires aren't turning, the car doesn't point good enough, Kim.
And you see Ryan Preece and Austin Dillon road right now. Crew chief for the 60, Derek Bentley, calling his driver in. Ryan saying that the sliding the tires just like the first run. I do believe he was on scuffs that last run, hurting the car to overall drive. Heavy chatter on the right front was the report from the 60 car.
Yeah, this run restarted with 98 laps to go. I assume the majority of the field will break it up into 245 lap runs. It seems like some drivers are thinking 30 or 32 laps a set. That extra pit stop can be overcome with that extra grip in the tires. As we watch Preece, he's going to drive away from this 19 easily with these fresh tires. Watch how much more grip this 60 is going to have. The trouble is, like we talked about in the pre-race, Jeff, you just can't be hung up in traffic. This can be, this could be a good strategy, or it can get off the rails quickly if you don't work through traffic. Because now you see him dart to the outside of AJ Allmendinger. Preece doing a very nice job. The short tracks are where he's cut his teeth. He knows how to make this work.
And that's what you want to see, clean racetrack. And then when you catch people, you want to see cars spread out. You don't want to see groups of cars because it just takes longer to get by them.
Penalty going the way of the 88, Connor Zilic, too fast entering.
Oh.
It was just a moment ago. Meanwhile, for the race leader, Chase Briscoe, he has spent more time in the top 5 here tonight than his previous 9 visits to this track. Talk about performing at the right time of the season. Let's talk more 19, Joe Gibbs Racing and Briscoe with Marty Snyder. Marty?
Yeah, Lee, they just reminded Chase. So now officially here in stage 2, we have split strategies. Some trying 3 stops in this stage. They're going to stick with a 2-stop here on the 19. But for back-to-back runs now, Steve, at the beginning of the run, Briscoe has told James Small, I have the brake shake. And he told Small, in fact, it's so bad this time it's knocking the wheel out of his hands, really moving it back and forth. So what can James Small do to maybe fix that brake shake early in the run for Chase Briscoe?
Well, the first question is, what can he do and does he want to do it? I would imagine if you have brake shake, normally it means you need a little bit more brake temperature. Whatever pad compound you're using is just not operating very cleanly. It's kind of knocking the pads back as they run. The concern is, how much brake do you need late in a run? When pace slows down, you use more brake. And it can be irritating, and you can empathize with your driver, but if it's not costing you speed, you don't want to take it away if you need the brakes later in the run.
It's very frustrating for a driver to see Josh Berry trying to make a move on the 48. Very frustrating for a driver to have that brake shake, but it does hurt the drivability of the car. The front tires don't work as well. I've been really impressed with the 19, but I got to tell you, this 21 car, he is, I would be willing to bet he has passed as many cars as anybody. They have a really fast car. They're going to have a few brakes to get the track position back.
Give some love to the 48, the Ally Chevy, Alex Bowman. Just got bounced out of the top 10, but he's been in the top 10 for a good chunk of time. Turning it on under the lights. Check this out. The 22 Pennzoil Ford of Joey Logano, a two-time winner here at Richmond, going for the lead of the race with Chase Briscoe. Cole Custer just ahead. That's not going to be to Joey's advantage.
Once again, we see the 19 car start falling off on long runs. Logano going to make it 3 wide.
It is to his advantage now.
Logano slides up in front of Briscoe.
Whoa, here comes McDowell. On a different strategy, fresher tires, and there's the difference.
Remember we talked about a little bit ago, here's Larson on pit road. A little bit ago we talked about the line that drivers were running on new tires. They were using the entire racetrack on the front straightaway. Watch the 22. Watch Joey Logano now that the tires are old. No grip. Look how low he is. Not only leaving the corner, but on the front straightaway. You just have to drive the car completely different. You got to leave perfectly straight. If you're turning the car on corner exit, it unloads the rear tires, it spins the rear tires. Being low allows you to keep the car straighter longer.
Hey, DJ, we just saw the 5 of Kyle Larson pit there during that stint. He restarted in 13th and dropped to 20th. What did you see?
Just uncharacteristic of Kyle Larson and this 5 team over the years that we've seen them together. He's literally a half a second off the pace here of the leaders, and that's just unheard of for that group. I assume that it's only handling. I know that they wanted to try to just be easy and not make a mistake early tonight, but they've got a lot of work to do to try to catch up and even to try to salvage something here tonight. And, you know, he doesn't have to look far in his mirror. Joey Logano's leading this race, and he's also can gain a lot of points towards that 10th spot.
Yeah, I think that's what's surprising to me, not just tonight, but Kyle Larson's 10th in points. We've talked a lot about this point system. You probably need to be the top 6, 7, 8 to have a really good chance to win the championship. Their regular season, has it been bad enough to where they put themselves in a situation where it's going to be very, very difficult to win a championship?
More takers on pit road, yeah. Bell and Bowman.
And for Christopher Bell, early in the run, he said I could be freer, but it's a lot better. Then as it trended later in the run, said the balance is the best it was. I'm happy to leave it how it is. 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel, Dave.
Good run so far for Alex Bowman. Much better turn this run. He said I could use some more drive on exit. Service complete.
It's really in that window now. 45 laps on these tires, 53 laps to go. You normally are 4 or 5 laps on the early side of halfway. Byron in front of you, Dave.
They've been working with William to try to get him to go to 65% throttle, save those tires, get him through, keep the grip in them. He'll get 4 tires here, 4 more fresh tires, and he's gone.
It's interesting to watch, isn't it? This deep into this stage.
This time.
All right, Logano's coming this time.
I think he's coming because it is a mess in front of him. There's no reason to catch this traffic. He loops around really nice. 19 chases him on the pit road. It'll be the battle of the pit crews. 22's early on pit road, Kim.
And they told me they were going to be in the hunt. They've proved it so far. Joey's saying I can afford to be a little bit tighter than I was this run. Marty.
Chase Briscoe on pit road said he needs a little bit more right rear grip on corner exit. The 19 team had a good second stop. First stop of the day was a little bit slow. Let's see how this team recovers. Clearly, they have the speed in the 19 car to be able to get the win here at Richmond tonight. And Denny Hamlin coming down pit road right now in front of you, Dave.
He is indeed, Marty. The 11 works his way down pit road. Car this time for Denny was not too bad. Just a slight adjustment here. Hits his marks perfectly. The 2 of Cindric is also on pit road. Tyler Reddick. Oh! Tostin Cindric almost hit Daniel Suarez, leaving. Now Cindric slowly gets into his pit. The crew was able to go to work. Cindric was pretty happy with the balance of his car that time, but that's going to cost him time.
Here's what happened.
2 turning in, the 7 leaving.
Oh.
7 really, by definition, the 7 has to allow the 2 into the pits. That's kind of how it would go. But I think Suarez had some chance there. I'm just not sure that the 2 had, you know, the idea he was leaving so quickly, they could have done a better job of blending. Now Blaney in.
Steve, it seems like the track has kind of changed for everybody else, but Ryan Blaney still has the same complaint he's had really since the start of the race. Way too easy to miss the bottom. You guys talked about that earlier. Just needs the fronts to work better for Blaney.
Yeah, and you're going to see that Joey Logano and Chase Briscoe are going to cycle back to first and second. Preece on older tires using that Prince strategy as third. A caution right now would be a really good break for Ryan Preece. Austin Dillon as well inside the top 10 because he pitted. You see laps on tires, single digits for the top three. Preece at 25, Dillon 25, Buescher at 19. The best part of that strategy now is a caution. You're trying to put yourself in a position where a caution will save you. Briscoe turning the heat up early here.
Yeah, this is good. By the way, just going back to that awkward moment on pit road, did you see the reaction from the pit crew as Suarez was coming out with the hose and the guns? And those guys were so fast in their reaction to that really tricky situation. Have a look at this.
Yeah, you're going to watch this 7 leave, and I think that's what happened to the 2, is I think the 2, watch this. So now the tire change is going to flip the hose, so the 7 go under. If we can see that one more time, what we didn't see the first time is the 45 was also in his stall. So if I'm the crew chief of the 2 car, right, if I'm Brian Wilson, I am probably focused on the 45 who is in his stall. So we roll it back and freeze it right here. Look at the 45. This has Brian Wilson's probably attention. This car right here, that's a lot going on. He probably didn't have the 7 in his mindset. He saw the 45 leaving. He thought he was going to get in front of the 7. Next thing you know, the 7's leaving. Disaster averted. I know a little time cost, but you mentioned it. Pit crew did a great job. Everyone really avoided a bigger issue, Jeff.
The tire changer getting that air hose over top of the car was spectacular, because if that air hose goes underneath the car, it drags that air hose, might rip the air gun completely out of the changer's hands. That was an incredible job.
Yeah, Justin Armwood, front tire changer on the 2. Heads up, slinging that hose up in the air.
So now Cindric is on the attack, and he spoke about this very situation before this race began. Different tire strategies, different closing speeds. He said this reminds me of IMSA sports car racing. You got to be good at passing, you got to be good at being passed, and you got to have a good pit crew. Look at this.
Wow, that is amazing. You said it. That's worst case scenario for the crew chief on the 2 car. He had so many things going on there. It was almost impossible to watch both of those cars and let Austin Cindric know what he needed to do. It could have been that. Just the way they handled that was spectacular. The driver, the pit crew, everybody took a bad situation and made it not catastrophic.
Yes. How about Bell all the way up to the 4th position? He was 10th. Really, before this all went, he cycled all the way up to 4th, right? So he's gained a bunch of time by coming on pit road. You see he was on pit road about 3 or 4 laps earlier than Logano, Briscoe, Hamlin. Using that earlier cycle has moved him up to 5th. He's being passed by Elliott now. He knows the tires will wear a little bit more, but just continuing to try to give yourself a chance, get lucky with the yellow, try to get that track position.
There are 3 Hendrick Motorsports Chevys in the top 10. William Byron leading the pack. Looking at Joey Logano in the Pennzoil Ford for Team Penske, leading the way, and puts Bubba Wallace a lap down.
Tense moment for the 6 of Brad Keselowski. Alternate strategy, needs to unlap himself. Currently 2 down. A caution would be day ender, or at least a big uphill challenge. There you go. That puts him from 2 to 1 down. Still not a comfortable spot, but that was the scary moment of this alternate strategy when you're more than 1 lap behind the leader.
Look at the traffic up ahead.
Oof.
Try and weave your way through that.
Yeah, exactly. And you're hoping the 6 kind of bulldozes his way through on those fresh tires.
Morgan and Morgan on board. Lovely tribute, by the way, to the late Kyle Busch on the hood of Austin Hill's 33. Of course, Kyle, with his time at RCR, raced in that livery, in that scheme of Morgan and Morgan many times. And there is that tribute.
Yeah, Kyle Busch, the famed bow with the checkered flag.
So hard to imagine that he's not here in this race.
Oh.
Such a tragedy. One of the best drivers our sport has ever seen.
And there is his teammate, the 3 of Austin, Dylan. One of the stories coming into tonight was, can Austin get 3 in a row? Something that hasn't been done in more than 40 years here at Richmond Raceway. Well, we'll see. Does it remain a story? It hasn't been going his way.
Well, I think we're starting to see why it's so hard, right? The rules changed a little bit. The tires changed a little bit. There's more power, different left side tire. And in today's world of data, the entire field studies everything you do. If you dominate a race, you are the point of focus for engineering staffs up and down pit road to try to figure out what advantage, either what you're doing behind the wheel or just where your car operates better.
The data has certainly changed the game in that, but some of that's never changed. Whenever you've got a driver or a team that is really good at a racetrack, they just raise the bar. They just make everybody have to go to work, and then that team gets afraid to change anything because it works. So why don't you want to change it? And then people get better, and now all of a sudden you find yourself trying to catch up.
Rode along there with the BuildSubmarines.com Ford of Brad Keselowski. How would he feel if 2 of his drivers got in, but he misses out on the chase? Well, his owner hat, under his owner hat, he would feel pleased. Under his driver's helmet, he'd be a little bit frustrated. 2-time winner here at Richmond. It's not over yet, but the task for the driver of the 6 is getting more and more difficult, with just 2 races left after tonight before we enter the chase. New Hampshire next week, Daytona International Speedway after that.
Heard a conversation about shifting or not shifting. You can see riding along, Brad navigating himself, 5-car hitting pit road.
Scheduled stop for Larson, who's going to break up this 100 laps in this stage with 2 pit stops. Kim.
And it has not been a good night balance-wise for Larson. Started early in the race. Tight center was the biggest thing. He got a little bit better, but then it went tight again. In fact, so tight in the center that he couldn't set up his angles correctly. Just reported tighter again. Crew Chief Cliff Daniels trying to cheerlead his drivers, saying, I know it's not good. You've got to tough it out. We will get the car there.
Yeah, pitted from 13th. He's going to fall outside the top 25. 27 to go in the stage. This is going to be an all-out sprint on this set of tires right here. For this strategy to work, you got to go and go the best you can. You see the leader right there, Joey Logano. He'll easily accelerate off the front fenders, off the 43 and the 22. That will put him nearly 2 laps down, only 1 down. And I will tell you, it would not shock me if the 5 unlaps himself on this fresh set of tires in only 26 laps. He should have huge, I mean, look at the gap already.
It's been a bad night so far, but this will be the most fun he's had all night. He has way better tires than everybody else. He is going to be ripping through the field.
It's so perplexing when you have a multi-car team like Hendrick Motorsports. You've got Chase Elliott leading the charge in 5th, William Byron in 9th, Alex Bowman in 10th, and then Larson distant. Like, it's so perplexing for everybody involved. Kim?
Yeah, and as we talk about Chase Elliott, came into this weekend with 9 consecutive finishes outside the top 10. That's the longest streak of his Cup career. Crew Chief Alan Gustafson told me the challenges might continue tonight. While we are optimistic, our short track driver program has not been there this season. We've made small improvements. We're hoping they show up today. Right now, Chase Elliott maintaining that 5th position. Spotter Trey Poole coming on the radio, encouraging his driver, saying, you're good on the short run, but Chase, you are really good on the long run.
It has been a tough year for Hendrick Motorsports, and if I'm the competition, I better take advantage of it because I know this organization. They are not going to stay down for long. They're going to figure it out. You get a team like that in a vulnerable situation, you can't let them off the ground. You got to keep your foot on them. Give this team a hint of speed, and they will make you pay for it.
Let's have a listen to some of the drivers about what they think, how they feel about racing under the lights here in Richmond.
There's nothing like being here on Saturday night, short track racing.
It certainly is something that I think is exciting for the fans, obviously more comfortable for the fans, but anytime you can see sparks at night.
The paint schemes just pop a little neater under the lights, and it's a little bit easier on everybody when we're not getting blasted by the sun as well.
It's nice to be home on a Sunday, but it's really cool to be home celebrating on a Sunday, so hopefully we make Saturday night really good.
There is nothing like being here on a Saturday night under the lights. It's one of those special places. If you haven't been, put it on your bucket list, your to-do list, just to sit in the stands. The afternoon, the build-up to race night is so great, and when the sun goes down and the lights take full effect, this place is fantastic. At 3/4 of a mile, it's not that big, but it packs a punch. The racing, the history, the legends who have won here, it's an incredible place. Dave Burns, tell us more.
One of my favorites too, Lee, and it's got to be a favorite right now for Austin Cindric, who remember came in on the playoff cut line, 16th position, just 29 ahead of the Chase cut line. And so I talked to his crew chief, Brian Wilson. He said, I don't even think we can get Chase points, bonus points, stage points in the first stage because we're starting 23rd. Guess what? They got 7, so that's a big move for them. Then that save on pit road. Brian also told me, you know what, we were 31st earlier in the year, so when we look at gaining points, we're happy to be here. What a year it's been so far, and what a night so far, recovery and fast racing for the two.
Ever since that hiccup on pit road, well, ever since stage 1, he made up so many positions, did Austin Cindric, but then great work by the crew on pit road with that tricky situation, and then he has been storming ever since. Austin Cindric in 6th at the moment. His teammate Joey Logano still leads. .12 to go in stage 2 in the Cookout 400. Let's check out the Xfinity fastest laps. Ryan Blaney, who has led 88 laps, which is still the most in this race, with the quickest over Chase Briscoe, who's led 80 laps, and then AJ Allmendinger. All right, 11 to go. There's race leader Joey Logano. Meanwhile, the 5 of Kyle Larson is ripping through the field to try and get his lap back.
Yeah, at the start of the stage, Joey Logano was running it second. Kyle Larson was in 13th. Kyle currently in 17th, working an alternate strategy, pitting in extra time, right? So he came on track basically 48 seconds behind the leader, a lap, almost 2 laps. And now the question is, will he get all the way back to the tail end of the lead lap? I don't know. He's passing Briscoe right here, the second place car.
Yeah.
He's only 7 seconds back. Let's just take a look at what this looks like data-wise. So there's a lot going on, but make it really simple. The blue stops, right? There's one there, there's one there. 2 stops for Kyle Larson compared to only 1 stop for Joey Logano. Lower is better. All the area down you see this pit stop and then speed. See this pit stop and speed. Remind you, it takes about, call it 28, 29 seconds to make the extra pit stop. The question is, do you make it up on new tires?
Well, here's the 22 car. Joey Logano leaving turn 2.
And Larson is leaving turn 2 now. So almost within the same straight. And there are 8 laps to go as soon as Joey crosses the line here. Can Kyle Larson do it? He's trying to get on the inside of Ryan Preece. He comes off turn 4. He's ahead of Ty Gibbs. Remember, if a caution flies now while we're inside the last 10 laps of stage 2, it would be the end of the stage.
And remind you, 13th is where the 5 basically restarted. So Herbst in front of him is for 14th, 4 position. I know he would love to get to the 22, but the 7 car, just 2 cars up, is the first car 1 lap down. So that would be back to where Larson is basically started the stage, just to give you an idea how this strategy is going to work.
Ryan Preece is pretty much on the same strategy, trying to do the same thing. He is right behind the 5 of Larson.
You said it. New tires are fun. On board with Denny Hamlin right here, working on the 19 of Chase Briscoe.
6 laps to go. I don't know if he can get there. This is a great battle.
Larson is in the same straight as him. He's entering turn 1. Logano's coming off turn 2. Here is that race. We enjoy the teammates in the lower box. Briscoe and Hamlin going at it. Top box is Kyle Larson, the defending series champion, trying to catch that Shell Pennzoil Ford and get his lap back.
And mission accomplished. He's in the free pass position right now. So that's going to already help that 5 car as long as the 22 of Logano doesn't lap anyone else along the way. I don't think he will with the big gap that he has in front of him. This battle between Hamlin and Briscoe continues to wage.
It's so much fun watching these guys. We see this 19 car again, takes off really fast. On longer runs, starts to fall off a little bit.
Well, on this short track, Jeff, they're in the lower downforce, higher horsepower configuration. With these fresher tires, Kyle Larson's got to feel like he's got an extra 100 horsepower, ripping his way through the field. 4 laps to go in this second stage.
What really jumps out to me is this 8-second lead that Logano has pulled over Hamlin and Briscoe. That's just an impressive run in 100 laps.
I don't think the 5 is going to get there.
3 to go, less than that, 2.5 from here.
But an extra pit stop and only 100 laps. Remember, that last stage is longer, so maybe you think 3 stops will work in that final stage. We'll have to wait and see.
And to your point, I think it still was a good strategy.
Yeah, free pass for sure. I don't know if he could have stayed there if he'd have restarted there and run like everybody else.
Teammates on screen for Team Penske. Austin Cindric has caught Ryan Blaney. This is for 4th place. What a stint it has been. What a stage it has been for Austin Cindric.
Cindric finished 4th in the first stage.
Top box, that's Joey Logano coming off turn 4. Crosses the line, 1 lap to go. Brought to you by Credit One Bank.
Oh, this 23 is going to hold up to 22. It's not really for position. Oh, short work from Joe. That 22 car is driving really, really good.
That puts the 23 2 laps down.
Yep.
And look at how close Larson got to accomplishing it. Top box, Joey Logano wins stage 2. Nice work. Denny Hamlin finishes 2nd ahead of his teammate, Chase Briscoe. Cindric did get his teammate, Blaney, for 4th. And Josh Berry hanging in there in the top 5.
Keep your eye on that 21 car. He is flying.
And believe it or not, that's just Logano's 2nd stage win of this year. Where else did he get one? North Wilkesboro. He won. USA Sports coverage of NASCAR is brought to you by Applebee's. Help us squeeze out childhood cancer. Credit One Bank for what's ahead. And by Progressive. Save when you bundle motorcycle, RV, and boat insurance. Visit progressive.com. What a sight. Richmond Raceway under the lights, and here is the race leader into the pits. Kim Coon's there.
Yeah, bad news for the competition. Joey Logano saying really good. The rears hung on longer, but I did lose my rear grip there at the very end. We're pretty close now, though. So Paul Wolf, the crew chief, making a slight air pressure adjustment, Dave.
Denny Hamlin gives up second slides to a stop. The car has been improving. He said no adjustments to that right front damage there. None apparent. Marty, 4 tires.
Fantastic view of Chase Briscoe's pit stop. He says he loses the right rear on entry and just has to pedal it all the way through the corner on that run, and a terrific stop by the 19 bunch. We'll see where they cycle out. Going to be a drag race for the teammate Denny Hamlin. I believe Hamlin barely won it.
I'll remind you to stay with us after tonight's race coverage is complete for episode 2 of this new series, NASCAR Americana, presented by Busch Light. Very special one. I'm not sure if you caught episode 1, but this second episode features a formal sit-down interview with Hall of Famer Kurt Busch since the sudden loss of his younger brother Kyle, and a whole lot more. That's NASCAR Americana, presented by Busch Light, and that's following our coverage here tonight from Richmond Raceway.
You got to look at every stat available. With a 97 of SVG, did not pit. That moved him to the front of the field. He's now waving around the pace car to the last car on the lead lap in the 14th position. What are they looking at? Is this a Hail Mary? Well, I'll tell you, when you break down the last 4 or 5 races here, about 20% of the time we have a caution in the 15 laps that start this stage. So it is a bit of a stretch, but they're figuring they're only going to lose the lap if it runs long enough. They're only going to fall back to where they were, being 1 lap down. They probably don't think they're fast enough to race for the free pass. But I think this is Steven Duran basically saying, you know what? We're going to race like we belong in the chase. We're going to be aggressive. We're not going to just let it come to us. Hey, tip of the hat. I love aggressive pit calls. This is a big one.
Have a go. Now, with DraftKings, you can take your game anywhere. Let's look at today's driving factors presented by DraftKings. There they are.
We'll start with how many times you're going to stop. 2 versus 3. We just saw Larson do it differently. Maybe someone in this stage will.
You got to get through traffic and take advantage of those new tires.
Yeah, short run, long run. I'd rather be better on both. Is that possible?
DraftKings is now live in all 50 states. New DraftKings customers can spend $5, get $150 in total bonuses by downloading the DraftKings app and use the promo CAR when you sign up. Let's go! Stage 3 underway, and a big move on the inside from Chase Briscoe. The 19 plunges to the low line, taking the fight to Joey Logano. Briscoe has led 80 laps here in Richmond. He is having the best race that he's ever had here, and saying, look at me, I am a championship contender this year. I'm going door to door with a 3-time Cup Series champion.
21 of Josh Berry back in the picture. Oh, a shot from Denny Hamlin.
Denny was not happy with him. Contact into turn 3.
Elliott right behind him, Byron in the mix. Look to the left, that mustard-colored car, the one of Ross Chastain. Back-to-back fantastic weeks for the Trackhouse racer. Briscoe and Logano, Toyota and Ford, Joe Gibbs Racing and Team Penske. Josh Berry tucks in behind Austin Cindric. These two are glued together.
What a battle. Just like the start of the field, the only difference is it's a different Penske car. Briscoe and Blaney to start the race. Now it's Briscoe and Logano.
Oh, 19 with a good run through the middle of the corner that time. Let's see if he can carry enough speed into turn 3 to clear the 22.
Briscoe's never even had a top 10 here at Richmond. This is an outstanding performance here tonight. Look at that UniFirst number 9 for Chase Elliott. Oh, bottom
Briscoe,
box.
He just sailed it into turn 1 to clear Logano. Back further in the pack, the 45 of Reddick. He had to pit twice. Had a problem, felt like a wheel might be loose. He lost all that track position.
He was in the top 10 at the end of stage 2. It was a fantastic performance by the 5-time winner this season. How about Ross Chastain? Don't count me out. Don't tell me I can't make the chase. And look who else is there. Ty Gibbs is putting himself in the conversation. The 54 Victory Junction Toyota, there he is on the inside of Alex Bowman.
Yeah, Gibbs racing for that free pass with SVG taking a wave around. It made Ty Gibbs the first car 1 lap down. He's racing the 7 of Daniel Suarez, whose position on the racetrack is behind him a few cars. So the 54 looking for that quick yellow, much like SVG.
We saw Denny Hamlin and Josh Berry mad at each other. Let's go back and visit it 3 wide. Entering turn 3, a lot of contact. 21 up the racetrack into the side of the 11. And Denny Hamlin, like, all right, not happy with you. Coming in here, contact.
I heard from the drivers and the teams that were worried about these softened front bumpers. Seemed to still work. Very good here at Richmond. No damage to the 11 as he ships the 21.
I think Denny wanted it to be a little harder than that, actually.
But not too much to damage the rad and the oil cooler, but enough to send the message.
You could tell Barry knew it was coming because he kind of coasted it off in there a little deep.
William Byron's had a nice night. Runs in 9th at the moment. He's been in the top 10 for the majority of the night in the 24. There has not been a ton of top 10 performances this year, or top 5 performances for the 24. But they're solidly in the top 16, solidly in the chase conversation. And let's talk more with Dave Burns.
So Rudy Fugle had an adjustment for William Byron on that last stop as he now makes the pass, completes it on Christopher Bell. Driver told him I turned well, but I didn't have the rear grip to go with it, so adjustment made there. 24 looks good right now, Marty.
Dave, let's give some props to Ross Chastain and Brandon McSwain, the crew chief on this one car. Diffie mentioned it earlier. They showed up at Iowa with some speed, and they backed it up here at Richmond. They sat down about 3 weeks ago together and said, hey, let's stop worrying about points. If we make the chase, we make the chase. Let's worry about our speed. They came with a different package to Iowa. They have shown up with that same speed here at Richmond, where Ross admits that's probably my worst short track, but they've been in the top 10 for much of the second half of this race. By the way, the SVG strategy for his teammate Shane Van Gisbergen, they have given up on that. They just pitted here a moment ago, Lee.
Interestingly, Marty, Ross Chastain said within the Chevy family, there is SVG pitting. Within the Chevy family, Ross has got a little bit of advice and direction from Austin Dillon, two-time winner here. One of the stories was he was going for 3, and he said, I will take what I can get, and he's using it, it's working.
So just a real quick update on that 97 of SVG. You're going to see him on the bottom screen. 4th car in line, but just left pit road. So he should probably be able to overtake the cars in front of him, much like Austin Cindric. So in a handful of laps, he'll unlap himself. Jeff, positions on the racetrack down some, but back to 1 lap down, which is where they started with the gamble started. Yep. You know, it's kind of not a huge penalty.
He's about to go flying past these guys, Joey Logano and Chase Briscoe, stretching down the back into turn 3. He's pretty much already caught Logano, that Midi Chevrolet. Remember, if you weren't with us earlier, we mentioned this. SVG did the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race earlier today, finished 4th. And he says, every time I get a chance to do more laps, get more reps, and he really feels the Truck Series, Jeff, more than the O'Reilly Series car helps him in his Cup car. He said they're closer.
Yeah, it's a lot of talk about that right now, is which is a O'Reilly car or a truck better to be ready. You see how these new tires, how much better they are. The trucks don't slide around quite as much as an O'Reilly's car.
Just to go back to that 2 versus 3 strategies, let's just talk real quick what the math looks like. If you're going to pit 3 times, 40, 40, 40, 40. 3 pit stops, 4 runs, 40 laps, you run 160. If you're going to run only 2 pit stops, you got to run 53 to 54 laps. So you're going to run about 13 or 14 more laps on each set, but you'll come down pit road 1 fewer times. And I'll be honest, math says pit an extra time, but there's a lot of assumption in that equation. There's an assumption on traffic. There's an assumption you won't get a caution. You are at risk more often coming down pit road. Be interesting to see who does what on top of the pit box.
But by doing that, it has worked for the time being for Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
Because he's on the lead lap. He's in 12th position, giving himself a shot after starting way down in 30th position. well over the halfway mark of the Cookout 400 here at Richmond Raceway. And you're looking at the driver, the man who has led the most laps here tonight, 99 laps for Chase Briscoe of Joe Gibbs Racing. There are just 13 cars on the lead lap. And Dale Jarrett, the last 2 cars on the lead lap, Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick. What do you make of these 2 guys needing a good result here tonight?
Yeah, Reddick had a really good run going until they had to make that second pit stop, with putting him at the end of the field, but he's rebounding nicely. Car much better. Larson's car is the best that it's been this entire race. And you have to give Hendrick Motorsports a few props here. They've got their 4 cars in the top 12. Now they're not battling for the lead or a top 5 position at this point in time, even though Chase Elliott looks really good. But their cars are better as the nighttime has set in. So does that tell us that they're still struggling when things are hot and slick?
Yeah, you mentioned this 5-car Larson. You know, he was in the lead lap, but essentially he started in 33rd. I mean, that's essentially how, you know, he was in 13th position, but he restarted in 13th position on the 33rd on the racetrack because of where he had to line up. He now is like he's in 13th. So he has passed way more cars than he was able to do, to DJ's point early in the race. He just got stuck with the same cars that he was able to pass this time.
Cliff Daniels, crew chief for many races now, has been saying, we will not stop fighting. We will not give up. We will not back down. We know that as the defending champions and just simply this famous car and team, our backs are up against the wall, but we will not stop swinging. We will not stop fighting. And they're proving that here tonight. Time to take a trip through the field. Let's kick things off with Marty Snyder. Marty?
Lee, earlier you mentioned best ever Richmond race for Chase Briscoe. One stat that glaringly points that out. In his entire career, he had 3 stage points at Richmond. Tonight, he has 17 alone in these first 2 stages here this evening. And before the Iowa race last week, James Small told Chase Briscoe, this is a 14-week chase for us. These next few tracks are difficult for you. And then he told the media that, quote, Chase has to put his big boy pants on and go and solidify this 5th spot in the championship standings. Briscoe's answered the bell tonight, Kim.
Well, Marty, Joey Logano running in the 2nd position. Crew chief Paul Wolf telling me confidence level is very high here. Short tracks are Team Penske's strength, but not only that, they found so much at the North Wilkesboro test in January that helped them even more in the short tracks. We saw them win at North Wilkesboro. They knew they were going to be good here tonight. Joey telling me momentum is real. Our goals have reset. The attitude has completely changed from making the playoffs to now trying to win the whole thing, Dave.
Good night for Austin Cindric, running 3rd, 14 stage points on the night. And his crew chief told me this morning his driver is in a good headspace. We've known each other for 10 years now working together. I know his jokes. I know his routines. He is in a good spot, and we are ready to take on this chase. Behind him in the 5th position, in the 4th position, that is Josh Berry. They had an issue in practice that crew chief Miles Stanley told me that they had to try to fix. That was falling off too early as they got into a run. They have done it, and Josh has been solid tonight. And as for Denny Hamlin, has this been the Denny Hamlin we expect to see at Richmond? Well, almost. Crew chief Chris Gale told me they had an issue last year they thought they had fixed before practice, and then it wasn't what they expected. So they have been fighting, they've been working on it, and after what we saw last week, Kim, they are gaining again.
And Chase Elliott running in that 6th position, and the team did acknowledge to me, we know as an organization we are struggling. Although the 9 team has held the torch for Hendrick Motorsports with 2 wins on the season, the only of the 4 cars who have found victory lane. Crew chief Alan Gustafson telling me all we're thinking about right now is running better. Their expectation coming in tonight was to run top 10. Right now they have done that. Chase Elliott saying all I have to do is protect the back of the race car. The turn is still good, Marty.
Kim, has truly been a team effort to get Ryan Blaney better here at Richmond. He'll admit early in his career one of his worst racetracks, but he has spent a lot of time with his teammate Joey Logano kind of crafting and understanding what makes Joey so good here. They have gotten Blaney much better over the years, but in the second half of this race, Dave, the car has gone the wrong way for Blaney. He just told Jonathan Hassler no better on this run than it was before.
Alex Bowman's crew chief Blake Harris told me this morning we had Richmond circled, and then the crash last week put us in the bad metric for the preferred place to qualify at this racetrack, and so they started 25th. What have they done? They've gone forward. top 10 run now for Bowman running 8th, Marty.
Dave, a moment ago we mentioned how the Richmond has been a tough racetrack for Ross Chastain over the years. Why? Well, Ross will admit, I didn't grow up on short tracks like a lot of these other guys, so I didn't have to save tires. I've had to learn how to get better here at Richmond. A terrific run for Chastain and Trackhouse right now in 9th, Kim.
And for Christopher Bell running in the 10th position, they emphasize to me we have to keep performing at the level we have shown recently. Remember, they've got 7 runner-up finishes this season. We will be title contenders if we can do that. For Christopher Bell, it was about keeping the balance close all night. The last change really helped his corner entry and exit, though he is starting to get tight through the center.
The amazing season after that injured wrist earlier in the year for Christopher Bell continues. 125 to go here in Richmond.
The wildly entertaining pit stop cycles continue at Richmond Raceway. Denny Hamlin was just on pit road. He took 4 at fuel, Kim.
And Christopher Bell also on pit road saying still getting tight at the 3/8 mark. They will take an air pressure adjustment as they change 4 fresh Goodyear tires. 22 of Joey Logano has just been reporting needs grip on the long run. They are close, though, to what he needs to win this race, he thinks.
All of these drivers that are pitting right here are basically committing to a 3-stop strategy. Briscoe as well going to jump on board with Hamlin and Logano and others. Pit road extremely busy. To be honest, I'm waiting to see a driver who doesn't pit, to see if anyone is willing to only pit twice. Cindric also on pit road. Cindric ranks first on speed tonight, even though he's only led or has yet to lead. Great speed out of that 2 car.
Consistency, Steve, it's been all about that. You see Chase Briscoe down there on the bottom. Austin Cindric hits his marks, Marty.
The 19 on pit road, Dave. 121 to go here at Richmond. They have had such a quick car for Chase Briscoe. No complaints about the handling. Chastain has to work his way into his stall around the 19, Kim.
Chase Elliott has that very first box upon pit entry. You see him there in the 9 car set. Didn't feel different balance-wise this run, similar to last run. Remember, he was protecting the back of that race car. Still feels like the turn's pretty good. A little slow there, though, it looked like on the left rear.
Yeah, an issue on the left rear, Kim. I couldn't tell. It looked like the new tire was on, or if maybe they had trouble with the exchange. But 11.8 seconds you see on the bottom left compared to, say, a 9-second of Stenhouse or a 10-second for McDowell. So you see that time. His teammate Bowman had an 8.9. So you just instantly see the penalty of having that slow stop. Nearly 2 seconds, 3 seconds to his teammate.
Through this cycle, the 5 of Larson has gone to the top, but we wait and watch to see what he does. Let's show you the 9 of Chase Elliott and what went down. Look to the left rear.
Yeah, let's see if it comes off. Oh, comes off okay. Maybe a little bit of an exchange. Yeah. Oh, no, a gun. Can't put it on the tire carrier. Gun. He basically, you could see the tire changer trying to get the gun to go from reverse to drive.
Larson's in, Kim.
Yes, and Cliff Daniels telling me what defines this team is, can you keep fighting even when you're struggling? This team has been struggling tonight. You see that chassis wrench in the back of the race car. Kyle Larson just complaining of a tight condition all race long. Also looking a little bit slow on the right side, or excuse me, the left side for them.
Oh. Left rear. See the green flag pit stop, 13 seconds.
Oof. Hocevar up against the wall.
Oh, and a yellow would be huge for Reddick, who is yet to come to pit road. You hear the radio on the 77. NASCAR, I believe, is going to have to put the caution out. He stopped in turn 3. There it is.
Caution's out.
Is this it? Is this the yellow that Tyler Reddick has? Is this going to be the change of fortune for Tyler Reddick? Is this going to flip the pendulum back to the positive?
Well, he has been grinding all night, got himself back on the lead lap, fighting hard. This is 2 weeks in a row. Nightmare for the 77 of Hocevar.
Oh, wow.
That sounded like
it sounds like a misshift. Like
it's
he
like
almost
yeah.
like he downshifted it. Or a mechanical issue.
Oh,
he said
sorry. Let's listen to that one more time. Really focus, Jeff. I wasn't sure what we were going to hear. Maybe we can hear that one more time a little bit earlier on the straightaway, because I guess he just was already in fourth. Maybe thought he was in fifth, and he was really in fourth, and he downshifted to third.
Right along. Wow. That is an engine builder's nightmare right there.
That's a zinger right there.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what happened, other than you could definitely hear the engine rev and the driver says he's sorry. So something that Hocevar.
This is going to hurt him in points.
Man.
Another, bad race last week.
He went from 5th to 8th in the points, and it's going to get worse at the end of tonight.
And just wait 2 more weeks. Diffie, I've been thinking about this, Diff, about what 10 weeks is like. It's 70 days. No off weeks. Like, you can't have this in the chase and think that you can just be okay. You can't have this if you win a bunch of races. Marty, what are you hearing on the 77?
Yeah, I just talked to Matt McCall, one of the heads of competition at Spire Motorsports. I said, did he go from 5th to 3rd? And Matt said, yes, it looks like that's what happened.
Double downshift.
Thanks to the AMR safety team. They were there very speedily. But this is 2 weeks in a row. Carson Hocevar was 5th in the points at the break, the weekend off, going into Iowa. And ever since, it's gone the wrong way.
So I mentioned the big break for Reddick. Well, he was yet to come to pit road. The only car on the lead lap who had yet to pit. It's going to be a huge opportunity. But let me just add, SVG, 13th. That alternate strategy for SVG. So a huge break for Reddick. SVG technically had pitted, but on an off sequence. So 2 cars in the chase currently, both getting fortunate by making decisions. Remember, this is lucky, but this is luck they created themselves. Billy Scott right there in the bottom left. Give yourself a pat on the back, Billy. Making yourself a little bit of luck.
Think about what USA Sports' Dustin Long told us earlier today about having a conversation with Billy Scott, Michael Jordan, addressing the gang, addressing the organization, saying, hey, let's go. We know what we're capable of. And just giving Jeff everybody a pump up. The 23 team, the 45 team, everybody saying, let's get this back on track.
Well, one of the greatest competitor in the history of sports, and not only a competitor, a winner in Michael Jordan. Who else would you want to hear from?
Dave?
And did the driver of the 45, Tyler Reddick, know how great that caution was? Listen.
Wow. Wow. Cool.
Oh, yeah. He knew that was a break they needed tonight. Tyler Reddick now, he'll come to pit road. And who else do you think will follow, Steve?
Well, Dave, I'm going to tell you, I think it comes down to how many sets you have left. Everybody on the lead lap wants to come. They definitely don't want to restart with 7, 8, or 9, 10 laps on their tires. But the problem is, with this multiple stop strategy, you will not have the extra set. So not only has Reddick got lucky because of his track position, but he also has saved a set of tires. And you see the decision. Hamlin came, others stayed on the racetrack. That's not a strategy because what do they think will work? That is a strategy because they don't want to burn a set of Goodyear tires, Dave.
Denny Hamlin comes to pit road. He said it fired off well, but I don't like being pushed 3 wide. I believe that was a Josh Berry reference. Tyler Reddick now gets his 4 tires. He said he was losing grip, pushing through tight at the end of that run, Marty.
You see Ryan Blaney coming down pit road. Originally, they had talked about staying out here, but they decided to come down pit road for Blaney. How about that? A 2-tire call at Richmond, something I didn't think was in the playbook, Steve.
That is definitely not in my playbook. I'm going to wait and see how that works out. I don't think I've ever seen that, Marty.
SVG getting serviced in the background. We're back. Our friends at Bank of America are proud to be the title sponsor of the chase race this October at Charlotte, which will return to the Oval this year from the Roval in previous years for the Bank of America 400. Look forward to seeing you all there. Several hours down the road from where we are here in Richmond, Virginia.
See, we're going to the choose. Everybody's picking inside lane, outside lane. Let's go back to the 5 car because this is the second time this has happened to him tonight. Kyle Larson, first car a lap down when the caution came out. So that puts him back in the lead lap. However, let's see where they line him up. He is running in 14th place, the last car in the lead lap, but he has essentially 29 cars in front of him, 28 cars in front of him. So he's got to go through all these lap cars because you line up behind all the lap down cars. In the lead lap, a ton of work to do. He's seen it multiple times tonight.
It's not much, but 4 or 5 lap fresher tires on Blaney, Reddick, Hamlin. They should have a huge advantage once traffic strings out.
Ready to go again. And it's the same 2 again. Briscoe, Logano bring this field back to green. Austin Cindric is having a fabulous night. Look at that 21 Wood Brothers Ford of Josh Berry. And here around the outside comes Bowman. They're 4 wide, they hit. Reddick rebounded off Chastain on the inside and past 3 cars.
What a save by Berry right here. He was wrecked getting into turn 3 and he saved it.
Blaney goes by. Here comes the 24 of William Byron. Hamlin is down on the low side. Shane Van Gisbergen in that 97. Right on the back of his Trackhouse teammate. What a restart lap that was as Briscoe is scooted away, clearly ahead of Joey Logano. Let's watch that. That was crazy.
3 wide. We've seen multiple times. Just contact right there, actually 4 wide. And then they get in the corner and Berry just drives down across the 1 car. Not sure how he kept from wrecking right there. That's big contact.
This is, listen to this from Reddick's point of view. Watch and listen.
Right here, middle lane still open from the 12 all the way to top. Bottom 3, bottom 4, bottom 4, bottom 4, bottom 4, bottom 3. So bottom 3.
Just a little scuff and a rebound, a ricochet, and kept going. And now here he is scrapping with Austin Cindric. Let's remind you that Tyler Reddick started 32nd in this race. And the Toyota Racing onboard shows us, yes, he got a little fortunate with that last caution, but he has been racing well tonight.
Fortunate, but you have to sometimes make your luck, and I'm impressed by the aggression of this 45. It is so easy to become a little bit sheepish when luck is not on your way and just stick with the mold, but running long right there is so difficult to do. Billy Scott pulled it off and got fortunate, and you mentioned SVG back there in 11th. He is saving points left and right with their aggression tonight.
After what went down in Iowa last weekend, Jeff, Reddick had a little bit of sense of humor coming into this weekend. He said, well, look, first of all, I'd like to see more than 4 laps, but the weekend got off to a bad start.
And he wasn't laughing about it right here. I mean, just seems like nothing could go wrong for them early in the year, and then they got into a stretch where nothing could go right. A few breaks tonight, Steve. Maybe this is what will get them going back in the right direction.
So Briscoe, Logano, Reddick on screen, and then Bell. Christopher is giving himself another shot at it. 7 times this year. Runner-up. Can he get that elusive win here tonight?
100 laps to go. How are you going to consume it? From what we've seen tonight, I'm thinking it's a couple green flag pit stops. That leaves you an opportunity to change tires if we get a late yellow. I mentioned that strategy was a lot about how many tires you have left. So look in the left side. 3 for the top 3 cars. Bell a set behind. Blaney half a set behind. Byron, Hamlin a set behind. If it runs green, not a story. If we get another yellow, though, tire sets will become a story. And remember, this is 1 more than we had a year ago, and it yet is still a story. I love that we have a soft tire. I love that it wears out.
And I want to see this if this 22 in a long run can run this 19 down. I feel like early in the race, the 19 was not as good on long runs, but the last run, Steve, he seemed like he was holding on really well. Maybe made some changes to the car. Maybe the 22 is not as good. Once again, on pit road, they all made changes.
All right, Jeff, let's do a lap. Let's lay out. Let's listen to Reddick, and then give us your evaluation when we come back. Have a listen.
Sounds pretty good, but forward on bias a little bit, just preference this time. I copy.
What do you see in here that you like?
What I like about Reddick's car right here is where he is on the racetrack over in 1 and 2. See the 22 car up the racetrack just a little bit, 45. Everybody left side tires on that yellow line, leaving the corner. Again, this is the line now. It's where you want to run on new tires, but as these tires wear out, they're going to change where they run.
Let me be Debbie Downer. They do have a little tire advantage. So I also believe that if you're Reddick, right, Jeff, you feel like you got to be a little better, right? Let's see what we can make for an adjustment to try to catch those front two.
And Larson, he has done a nice job of driving up through this field. We showed where he was lined up. He just passed SVG. Larson into 12th position, but had to go through all of those lap cars to get there.
Well,
they have made this car, Dale Jarrett mentioned it earlier, they have made this car much better.
Well, you guys have talked about a tip of the hat to Hendrick. So if we just take off our Hendrick expectation glasses for a minute, the 9 is 6th, the 24 8th, the 48 10th, the 5 12th. They're not going to hang banners for that sort of run.
But a much better one.
Yes, and all there, right? Not a standout, not one car. This is not normally their signature. They just beat everyone with raw speed. They're finding a different way to compete. I think this is going to have to be their MO heading into the chase. How can we manufacture points without the fastest cars? And if they do have the fastest cars, they can go back to what they've done for decades.
Let's take you back a moment ago and show you something that went down between Ty Gibbs, Brad Keselowski. This is the view from the Built Submarines Ford. Keselowski. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Little contact there. Bubba Wallace's view.
Good job, everybody, come out of there without a wreck. It's 3 wide at this racetrack is difficult.
Back to live pictures. Brad Keselowski runs 28th at the moment.
We saw a few laps ago a lot of contact with Josh Berry. Now, I think it hurt this race car. He is back here in 11th position. It's the slowest I've seen this car all night long. The last lap he ran was nowhere near the top 10 on speed. I think somehow they got some damage.
Here's the interesting thing. We don't know what next year looks like for Josh Berry. We can't manufacture a ride for him or a seat for him. But Stevie sure is reminding people what he's capable of.
And that's all he can do at this point, right? He can work on the business side, have partners that want to support him, and just remind owners how he ended up in the Cup Series. And it was short track racing like this. Now, I know he won at Las Vegas, but when I think of Josh Berry, I think of these very rhythmic short tracks.
He's got a little worse tire than some people around him, so that may be contributing to it as much as potential damage.
This is the fight for third. Christopher Bell in that DeWalt Toyota. He holds third at the moment over fellow Toyota driver Tyler Reddick. Chase Briscoe, the 31-year-old from Mitchell, Indiana, driving for Joe Gibbs Racing, has led the most laps tonight with 142. What a night. He has never had an event at Richmond in the Cup Series like this. Started on the front row alongside Ryan Blaney and has found his groove at this 3/4 of a mile racetrack. Leads Joey Logano by 1.5 seconds. A little further back is Josh Berry in 11th, Kyle Larson in 12th. There are 14 cars on the lead lap. Ross Chastain is that 14th and final car. With 84 to go in this race, the Cookout 400, it's time for Ones to Watch, presented by Credit One Bank.
I'm going to go with Christopher Bell. He is running in 3rd position right now. That's the best he's been all night long. He just ran the fastest lap on the racetrack. The pay window is open, and Christopher Bell, standing there with his hand out, wants to check.
Well, if anybody knows about the pay window, how about Tyler Reddick? Hot start to the year that's cooled off recently. Well, he started 32nd tonight after a spin in practice. He had to pit an extra time for a loose tire, but then stayed on the racetrack, caught the yellow, and here he is in the 4th position. He has fallen to 4th in points. Can he right the ship and get a little momentum as we head to the chase?
Well, I'm going to follow my booth mates and not take either of the top two. I'm going to talk about car number 2, the Menards Ford of Austin Cindric. He runs 5th. He has only had one top 5 this year, and that was all the way back at the beginning of the season in Darlington. He is having maybe the race of the 2026 season right when he needed to, because he's in that pressure cooker zone. He's in 15th. He was in 16th in points coming into tonight's race, and he has stood up, shown the speed, and said, look at me now. I can race like this heading to the chase. Let's talk about his teammate, Ryan Blaney, with Marty.
Sitting in 7th. Boy, this night started so promising for Ryan Blaney in the 12 team, leading 88 laps. But on this run, when they took right side tires, here's what Blaney said just a moment ago.
Brake pedal is soft as for some reason.
So the brake pedal very soft on this run for Ryan Blaney. Just a moment ago, Jonathan Hassler's crew chief said we're going to pit in about 5 laps. So this cycle with 80 to go going to start very soon here at Richmond.
It's going to be a busy cycle too. It's one thing in the 1st or the 2nd stage because you know you're going to have a rinse and a reset, but this could be the run all the way to the checkered. 79 to go, 29 laps on this run. Some cars have a few more laps on their tires than that.
By the way, as you watch that Bob's Discount Furniture number 11 of Denny Hamlin, very special weekend this weekend with Richmond Raceway dedicating a section of the stand and the seats to the Hamlin family. Row H, seats 10 and 11. Of course, memories of Denny's late father and the family coming here, and a really special occasion last night where Denny's daughter Taylor sang the national anthem. As we go to one of the JGR cars, Dave, tell us about Ty Gibbs.
1 lap down, Ty Gibbs is in and out with the 54 car on the lead lap and running well. Austin Cindric with the 2 car. Getting an adjustment here from his team along with 4 fresh Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel, Marty.
76 to go now for Chase Briscoe. That's all that stands between him and his first ever short track win. Remember the move James Small made earlier in the race. They took on a set of scuffed tires, so they have 3 sets of sticker tires laying here in the 19 pit. Handling wise, 0 complaints from Briscoe. They clearly made it better, as Jeff pointed out, on the longer run.
19 pulls off pit road. 22 of Logano sits in his box right now. 9 of Chase Elliott behind him as well. Kim.
And for Joey Logano, he said going a little free. They asked him if he wanted to be tighter. He said, yes, if I was tighter, I would be faster.
Faster's the goal. Concern about tight as you can burn the rear tires off if you can use more throttle. Dave.
Wood brothers already going to the right side of the car for Josh Berry, nicely around the front end there. Josh trying to get to the end here. Get another great finish on a short track for the driver of the 21. Meanwhile, Denny Hamlin on pit road in the 11 car, really loose in was the report from the driver, so they'll try to get an adjustment here as he hits his marks. Can his team give him the service he's had all night? It's been quick. They've gained spots on pit road. You see the tear off there, so the driver can clearly see what he's doing. Joey Logano running up front there and chasing down Tyler Reddick.
Logano doing a nice job. Reddick yet to come to pit, running long as well. I thought the 2 of Cindric was going to make up more time. He's about 10 car lengths behind the 22 because he came a lap sooner, but I'll admit the 22 of Joey Logano efficient. 45 continuing to run long. They're going to try to play the other side of the strategy. The question is, are they only going to pit twice? Or are they only going to pit once? What's the 45 thinking? Are they hoping to get another yellow as they run long, losing time?
It's what benefited him the last time around at that last caution when Carson Hocevar had to stop. Brought out the yellow, and that was a big win to the 45 team. Now check this out. You've got Christopher Bell. We wait on him to come and pit. Here is Austin Cindric going around high, chasing his teammate Joey Logano. Logano's about to enter turn 1 now. Cindric is there at the moment.
Little bit of trouble. 11 of Denny Hamlin on the green flag cycle. Remember, he had fallen back a little bit with the handling. Right side looks good, but watch the jack when it goes to the left side. Under the car, but set. An issue. Didn't get under the post. Tire changes waiting. Bleeding time. These pit stops are so fast now, right? He was 8th, 7 seconds back when he pitted. We'll get an update when he comes back, but he absolutely lost time to the leaders on that cycle.
Brutal. It's such a short track like Richmond.
Steve, you're on the pit box right now, and you're the crew chief of the 20 car. He is staying out. So many others have pitted. At what point do you give up and you come down to pit road?
What I'm doing is I'm looking where I'm going to cycle, and I will run long until I can pit and come out right in front of the leader 1 lap down. I don't want to go 2. I'm going to run as long as I can, where when I pit and return to the racetrack, I am almost 2 laps down, kind of like we saw Larson that time, then use the new tires and see how I can go.
Kim? We'll look for a cleaner stop this time for Larson. Remember, a little slow on the left side. Last stop, tight center, loose in, and off as they go. You saw that chassis adjustment in addition to 4 fresh Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel.
Wait for Bell, Reddick, and Blaney to come in and pit, and you pick up the 19 of Chase Briscoe. He's got about 4 seconds over Joey Logano at the moment. Here's Christopher Bell. What's the strategy play here for the 20 team?
If I'm driving this 20 car, I know what we're doing. I see everybody else is pitted, and I immediately know that my job is to make the best lap time I can. I've got to focus. I got to get 100% out of this car. It's way slower than the guys around me because they have new tires, but I still have a job to do. And if I don't execute my job, then Steve's strategy becomes that much more difficult.
As these cars, and the other thing is this race has a tendency to have a couple yellows near the finish. So the other strategy is don't get caught up in the emotion. With 66 to go, you think we're here, we're at the end. 66 at Richmond is nearly 2 tire runs.
Yeah.
So just take a breath and try to continue to push those tire usages out.
But when you're playing this strategy, Jeff, and you're seeing everybody, like Hamlin's about to do, his teammate from Joe Gibbs Racing, when you see everybody whip by, how difficult is it to stay composed?
But look at the line the 20 ran. He ran the middle of the racetrack to carry as much speed as he could to give the bottom to everybody else so he didn't get slowed down. There is an art that you as a driver have to be willing to execute while you're getting past. You go to the bottom of that situation, it's going to slow you down a great deal. Give those guys the lane, but go in a lane where you can make lap time. See right here, he wanted to be on the bottom of this end of the racetrack. It has a lot to do with where they're catching you, where you need to be.
Spotters got to have to be on their toes because the closing rates now with new tires and old tires get to be really messy. When everybody pits together, it has kind of a cadence. But when you kind of have this, game of hopscotch, this guy is faster than this guy, and you just don't know, Jeff, right? You drive in behind a guy and realize all of a sudden he's on way older tires than you, run him over on corner entry.
So 63 to go, that's all. And we wait and watch. When do we see Bell, Reddick head to pit road? We've been asking the question, Dave Burns, waiting, watching, wondering when Tyler Reddick's coming in. Here he is.
The time is now, and think what they've been through so far tonight. Started 32nd on the day, had a loose wheel on one pit stop, had to pit again. They were the beneficiary of the Carson Hocevar caution. What a break for them. 4 tires here, get the car a little bit freer in the center, Kim.
And Dave, Christopher Bell in that 20 car is going to answer that call from Tyler Reddick. Also bring down his Toyota onto pit road. He said he was tight to fire off, and the longer the run went, going loose laterally, they put on those 4 fresh Goodyear tires.
The race goes green. I believe this is going to be the last pit stop for the 45 and the 20. A yellow would change it, but I really believe that this right here is their plan. They just ran over 50 laps on this set of tires, 56 laps to go. If you're asking which strategy is going to win, so is everyone in the grandstands and on top of the pit box. And I truly believe math isn't going to tell you the answer. It's going to be traffic. Who operates through traffic cleanly? You see Bell back on the racetrack. He needs to just continue to work through traffic as efficiently as possible. That is the variable in this pit stop equation.
It's really interesting to me because the 45 pitted, then the next lap the 20 pitted. They have the same program, like essentially the same math. We have to pit now for this to work out. The 45 was 2 or 3 seconds behind the 20. 45 pitted, made sense. The 20 pitted the next lap.
Bell and Reddick versus the rest.
And you see Blaney still with the red tires. I really believe that he feels he's behind on tire sets. So he's just running a long time, put the last set on, and hope he still has a set for a late yellow. I think they got a little behind. It's probably that 2-tire stop they could probably want to take back. Plus, he now has this long brake pedal, so this race has definitely got away from the 12 car a little bit here in the light stage. Pitting this stage for the 12 car. This will be interesting to watch because if he does have a long paddle, Jeff, that is difficult enough to make lap time. You just got to really pump it up now to get to pit road.
Slow down really early. And he did. Some guys carried much more speed into the corner than the 12 did.
The pole position winner and stage 1 winner was running 9th at the time of pitting. 53 to go from here. He's coming your way, Marty.
Yeah, Lee, you could just see those brake rotors glow for Ryan Blaney in 3 and 4 as he was coming to pit road. And this is an example how quickly the strategy can change here at Richmond. They initially thought about pitting early in this cycle, but they decided to go very long, a little bit long there on the right side, trying to get the jack underneath the car for Ryan Blaney. As you mentioned, Lee, had fallen back to 9th. Now going to be 4 tires for Blaney with 52 to go.
Top of the screen, the 20th Bell closing in on the leader of the 19. Jeff, we talked about this in pre-race. This is where you're holding your breath. You're a lap down if you're Adam Stevens. Once you pass the 19, your playbook opens dramatically on a yellow. Bell's going to turn left. Briscoe really has no chance to fight him. The 20 is going to go through. That's really well done. Not a lot of tire usage.
So the 20 back on the lead lap. Cole Custer did nice there. Stayed out of the way, gave room to Briscoe. Teammate zipped by on the inside.
He was basically 6.5, 7 seconds behind the 19 when he left pit road. And he's now within a second, or now past him. So he's made up 7 seconds in about 6 laps. So really, it just gives you an idea of just how fast this 20 car is. Fastest car on the racetrack by a mile because of the new tires.
Now, if I'm driving this 20 and I think I'm going to have to go 49 more laps, I'm going to have to be a little bit smart here. I can't just rip it. I just can't just go 100%. I'm going to have to save a little bit of tire.
Well, and you got to try to save some tire and not give up position to the 45 of Reddick, who's on the same strategy.
That's always
This is
the
a
problem.
converging road trip, Diff.
Yeah.
We left the same city. You stopped twice, I stopped once, and we're basically going to see who hits the off-ramp at the same time in Charlotte. And it's going to happen in like the last 10 laps of this race if it runs green.
Well, definitely you and Jeff made more coffee stops than I did.
Well, for sure, I was the 2-stop guy. I'm not doing it on one.
Well, keep an eye on Reddick as well. Toyota Racing on board, bringing us these images. And how is it going to work out with just 48 to go? What will it be like for this man here, Chase Briscoe, who has dominated this event, leading 163 laps?
And I hope our pit reporters don't take a very long break here because we're only about 7 laps from seeing another wave of pit stops from Briscoe, Logano. I mean, it's chaos. It really is chaos. And that's up here. Sitting on one of these pit boxes, your head just spins on what's trying to go down.
Watch the difference here with these fresh tires versus cars like Austin Hill who have been out there for a while. down into turn 3, round the outside of the 33. Is it going to work out for Tyler Reddick and for Christopher Bell? Or is it going to swing the other way for those on the more popular strategy call, like Briscoe and Logano and Cindric and Chase Elliott, who sits 4th at the moment, and the 5-time winner Denny Hamlin? We'll see.
So now I start to look at the cars that haven't pitted. Briscoe, Logano, Cindric. They can't really be too concerned with Bell. Briscoe might be. But if you're Briscoe, you really better focus on Logano or Cindric. Cindric 4.5 seconds back, you have a little bit of reaction time. But Logano at 1 second back, if he beats you to pit road by 1 lap, that probably would cycle him being the 22 in front of the 19 of Briscoe.
Logano's been way faster than the 19 these last few laps. He has cut this lead by a great deal. 0.2 of a second that lap.
Jeff, to your point, at one stage, Briscoe had more than 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds over Joey Logano. So that 22 has done a really nice job closing this in, diminishing the advantage of the 19.
One thing to point out, it's been an up and down day. Right there, Larson, 0 sets of fresh tires left. Runs green, not a big deal. We start to get yellows. The sand may have run through the hourglass. All the mulligans used for the 5 car. I'm sure they have some lower lap tires they could put on, but definitely not going to match brand new tires.
So even with that extra set this year,
yeah, oh yeah,
they're still running through them.
Yeah. Tires are kind of like income. The more you have, the more you use. It doesn't really matter. Give me an extra set, I'm going to pit more times. I mean, you know, you want to buy more stuff. That's just how it is.
We have a spending problem, it sounds like.
Yeah, we have a tire spend. Yeah, that's right. If the currency is Goodyear tires, you spend every cent. The last thing you want to do is have extras in your pit when it ends. You can't use them next week.
All right, who goes first out of these two to pit road with 41 laps remaining? Does the race leader make the decision first, or does the 22 make the 19 a little more nervous and he goes first?
I'm just interested in how much better the 22 is right now than the 19. The 22 has made a really good change, or the 19 has made the wrong change.
Big gap back to Austin Cindric, some 4 seconds back to the 3rd place driver, and then Chase Elliott, then Denny Hamlin and William Byron. Look at this.
On the outside.
This is for the lead of the race. And maybe for the win.
19 is nowhere near as good as he was.
If I'm James Small, I'm coming this lap. I'm going to pit from the rear bumper of the 22. Try to pit a lap earlier and jump the 22 car. Try to give my driver an advantage. You see some action on top of the 19 box. I'm coming this lap to give my driver an advantage because Bell, there you go, radio on the 19. James knows what he's going to do. I guarantee Paul Wolf comes too.
Lock the front brakes up.
These guys know each other so well. It's like playing chess. Logano in his box first. Kim.
As soon as Logano took the lead from the 19 of Chase Briscoe, they said, pit, pit, pit. This will be the last set of sticker tires that are going on this Ford for Joey, and he is down and away, Marty.
Boy, move, counter move. James Small said, come to pit road, and Paul Wolf answered that bell pretty quickly. For the 19, he said, I was way too free on that run. They've dueled it out on the racetrack. Now the pit crews will duel it out here on pit road. Briscoe and Logano. It's a drag race. Logano looks like he's going to hold the lead of those who just pitted right here.
Super close, but advantage the 22, advantage Team Penske. Now where do they come back out in the mix in relation to Christopher Bell and Tyler Reddick? The race is on from here with 37 to go.
Bottom left of your screen, you see the 11 of Hamlin, who's coming to pit road, the 20 of Bell going into turn 3 on the bottom left. I'm talking down in this location right here. Bell is the leader. The 19 is a half a lap or a little more behind Bell. 36 laps, fresher tires. The 22 and the 19. The 22 has to stay in front of the 19 while trying to run Bell down. That's basically the stage has been set with 36 to go.
Let's see right here, Logano, his lap time, a 22.98. Bell ran a 24.48. So a big speed difference with the 22 car.
For Christopher Bell fans, you know the story all too well. 7 times this year, he has finished second. As recently as last weekend in Iowa, where it was a 2-tire call versus a 4-tire call up against his teammate. He is sick of finishing second. Bell wants to go to victory lane. Final 30 laps here in Richmond. Then we've got post-race coverage. And after that is NASCAR Americana, the new 3-part series, and it's episode number 2. That's following our progressive post-race show.
Bell leads, Reddick second. Older tires, Logano fresh off pit road, just in front of Briscoe. Logano has pace, but man, there is some traffic.
Logano right here.
Whoa! Excuse me, coming through, pardon me.
Passing Reddick for second. Christopher Bell 3.5 seconds ahead.
I think Bell is easily going to be taken, overpassed by the 22, but, what's he going to fall to? 5th, 4th, 5th? I mean, it's good. Plus, has a set of tires left. If the caution comes out, he has track position right now.
Look at this gap diminish. It's 3 seconds. That's going to just keep getting squashed. It went from 3.3 to 2.2 seconds. The 2-time winner here in Richmond, 3-time Cup Series champ, Joey Logano, said, you know what, this is one of my favorite racetracks, but we've had a lot of adversity here, and I just want to get rid of that tonight. I want to get rid of that and have a great run at Richmond again and get another win.
Well, right behind him is that 19 car, Briscoe. Briscoe's not letting him get away. That lap, Briscoe a little bit quicker than the 22.
Isn't it fascinating, Jeff? No matter how great a car is, somebody always seems to be there with you, right? These two have a big gap over Cindric, right? These two are pulling away, but much like we saw Denny Hamlin chase Logano at North Wilkesboro that day when he was untouchable, there was still someone to keep him kind of honest, not letting him out just to a 10-second lead.
Briscoe still just a little bit quicker. Here's the pass for the lead.
Round the outside goes Joey Logano, and it's as simple as that.
For Bell, you're just trying to manage the gap to the rest of the field, get as many points. And if you get a caution, you're hoping you maybe can put some tires on. Let's listen into Bell's radio.
For the lead? Yes. Yes, they are for position. Well, damn. There goes my hope. Keep digging. Still 26 more.
And that's, Christopher Bell's an amazing race car driver who understands what's going on as good as or as well as anybody, and even he was like, wait, these guys are for the lead. There's just a lot of moving parts. It's a long run here. We're 84 green flag laps right here.
23 to go from here. For Joey Logano, it's Ford and Team Penske over Toyota and Joe Gibbs Racing.
And look at that top 10, right? Reddick to 4th, Cindric to 5th, Elliott, Byron, Bowman, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Barry there in 9th. Hamlin had another slow pit stop, also in the jack again on the left side.
Good day for Chase Elliott, his teammate William Byron, Alex Bowman, and Larson just outside the top 10. Now, updated points as they run. Logano solidly in 8th.
And I will tell you, as Joey has climbed the standings, I've really watched the gap to the leader. And I was a little unimpressed because it was about 340 points 10 weeks ago, and it was still 340 points, even though he's entered kind of the chat, right? Well, now he's 300. Now he's gained 40 points to the best of the best, 40 points to the current leader in the standings. Now he's gone from just not a chase car to a championship contender, closing the gap to the leader.
And with a top 5, if he stays there, Austin Cindric has flipped the story on Shane Van Gisbergen, and he would put SVG on the hot seat in 16th with just 2 races to go till the chase begins, Jeff.
Well, to show you how good Joey Logano has been lately, gained 120 points to the cut line over the last 5 races. I mean, that is, I thought he was in trouble. I really thought he wasn't going to make the chase, but he showed me how wrong I was.
And look, there has been an abundance of naysayers that said Joey was a playoffs champion, right? The win and you're in. Like what happened in his 24 title when he got in after Alex Bowman was DQ'd after the Roval. Well, this is an opportunity for him to prove them wrong. Here we go, Reddick and Cindric. This is for 4th place, and Austin rounds up the 45.
I will tell you, we keep talking about Joey Logano, and Chase Briscoe says not so fast. He's closing it down to a half a second.
And traffic up ahead. We've seen traffic come into play so many times at this racetrack.
All day long, I thought the 22 was better on the long run. As James Small and Chase Briscoe finally unlock something on this 19 car.
I'll tell you what Chase Briscoe has is a lot of corner entry speed. We've seen this a few times this year, corner entry speeds with the Joe Gibbs cars have been something the whole garage has talked about. They're able to carry a lot of speed, really drive the car deep into the corner. Seeing it here again tonight.
And look, Chase Briscoe got a runner-up spot at Iowa last year. Came off a decent weekend last weekend. But if you ask James Small or Chase, short tracks aren't in his wheelhouse. That's not his specialty. But they are very quick to say, we are getting better. And proof is on the screen right now. He's led 171 laps tonight and is racing Joey Logano for the win of this race, the Cookout 400.
Lapping Blaney.
Yeah, you wonder how much that long brake pedal he complained about has hurt this 12 car, because it definitely has lost overall pace. Doesn't have all the tools behind the wheel he had earlier.
Briscoe just trying to squeeze by the race leader's teammate. Guy he started on the front row with and finally does get by Ryan Blaney.
Blaney raced Briscoe really hard in 1 and 2.
Morgan and Morgan on board, looking back at the race leader.
Closing in on a 100-lap green flag run. Joey Logano wants to see this thing just run out. He does not want to have to reset, come down pit road and do it again.
Oh, look at this.
Well, that's about a half a straightaway in front of the leader. And he can see it.
About 25% of the time, we see a yellow in the final 10 laps of this race. We'll see if this follows that trend.
Daniel Suarez there, by the way, in the 7 is sitting in 16th place. The last car just 1 lap down before you get into the cars multiple laps down.
Watch the 19 car and the 22 car. Briscoe, a lot of speed on corner entry, but right there, the car doesn't rotate as good as the 22 car. Briscoe trying to find something with only 11 laps left to go.
Bell just now being overtaken for the the third position for Cindric. Another great run for Cindric.
Yeah. And again, it's been a drought as far as top 5 finishes, even though it's been good consistent finishes across the season for Austin Cindric to put him in the chase in the top 16. This will be his first top 5 since Darlington way back at the beginning of the year. The fight's not over though for the win of this race. Chase Briscoe is not letting Joey Logano get away. The gap is less than a second, less than half a second. 10 laps to go.
Briscoe got through that traffic just a little bit better. Now look ahead. 2 cars directly in front of the 22. 19, good rear grip on corner exit. Look at this. Look at this corner entry speed. Look at that.
Wow. Higher line in 3 and 4, and then turned down the hill. Had a straight shot on corner exit. Once again, runs up a groove. It allows his car to turn. You talk about what it wasn't doing in the middle. He adjusted his line. See if he does it again.
Again, corner entry speed. He's just cooking it down into the corner, but now he's got that center rotation equal to the 22.
In just his 2nd year with Joe Gibbs Racing, Chase Briscoe has really found his home in this 19 team. And he is chasing down a 3-time Cup champion who calls this place one of his favorite, one of his best. Briscoe's never even been in the top 10 here at Richmond. And here he is fighting Joey Logano for the win.
Oh, big rotation by the 19 there. Really good corner.
Coming up on Herbst and Hill. That's the traffic ahead and 7 laps to go.
This will be the difference. Can the 22 Logano get by the 35 of Herbst? Going to catch him getting into the corner.
2 drivers who have been to victory lane this year. For Briscoe, it was at Chicago. For Joey Logano, more recently at North Wilkesboro. Went into that weekend off feeling great about things, great about his chase chances. But this is going to end in a thriller. 0.3 of a second between Logano and Briscoe. 6 laps left here in Richmond.
Oh, that was a high exit too. A completely different look for the 19.
Gonna try the second lane all the way through 1 and 2. It worked pretty good. Gonna have to try that again. Look at him gain on corner entry over and over. I think he found something in 1 and 2 right there.
Oh, he's loose.
Whoa.
Spinning those tires.
Lighting it up. Out of turn 4, across the line. 4 laps to go.
Oh, I'm surprised he went to the bottom.
Who do you like to look at home? Logano or Briscoe? Who do you feel is going to get this one done? Logano with the upper hand. Has Briscoe got something left over these closing 3 laps?
I think Briscoe's got to go back to that second lane over here in 1 and 2.
More traffic up ahead. Jones and Stenhouse.
There he goes. Let's see if it works.
I like that. I like a wide entry, low exit. You mentioned it, traffic right in front of the 22. Can the 19 catch him in a bad spot?
Oh, look at Austin Hill all over Eric Jones.
It's an opportunity right here. This is the chance for Briscoe.
Logano to the inside of Jones. Fellow Toyota driver here, he moves aside for Chase Briscoe. 1 lap to go from here. Presented by Credit One Bank.
That move by Joey Logano to attack the 43 in that corner gave him a couple car lengths, and it might be just what he needs to seal the deal here in the last 3/4 of a mile.
What a thriller. Top 2 drivers who have led the most laps here tonight in Richmond are putting on quite the show and consolidating their position in the chase point standings. Joey Logano said, I want to get over the adversity that we've had here at Richmond and add another win. Well, he sure does. Joey Logano is now a 3-time winner at Richmond Raceway.
Again, baby. We're on it now, boys.
We're on it now, boys, says the 3-time Cup Series champion. We're in the mix.
Yeah, good job, guys. Good car, good call.
To go for a 4th. Good car, good calls, as he thanks Paul Wolf and the 22 team. "95 laps led after starting from 10th. Tonight's Joey's night under the lights in Richmond. And says emphatically, if you think I'm a 3-time champ because of the playoff format, how do you like me now?
We knew that the schedule would tip to the 22's direction with the short tracks, but I'm not sure anyone had this run predicted 20th to 9th in points over the last 6 races. And as I mentioned earlier, not just climbing, but also gaining to the leader, which proves that he is truly a championship contender if this momentum can continue.
That's worth saying again. 20th to 9th in just 6 races. Joey Logano, as he said to his team, we're on it now, boys. After we hear from Joey, the Progressive post-race show coming up here on USA Sports. Time to celebrate for the 22 team.
What an unprecedented run this has been for this 22 bunch. Man, they know how to do it in the second half of the season. And Joey Logano gets win number 3 in front of a sellout crowd here at Richmond.